Chapter 3102. Kill. After killing the Winged Demon Academy's dean, Lu Ming didn't hesitate at all. His figure flickered as he charged toward the invincible Kenzo sect master. Not good. The invincible Kenzo sect master's expression changed greatly. He hurriedly retreated, not daring to clash head-on with Lu Ming. However, under the suppression of the King Subduing Pagoda, his strength was greatly reduced, just like the Winged Demon Academy's dean. Even his speed was greatly reduced. Lu Ming, on the other hand, was not affected at all. In the blink of an eye, he closed in on the sect master of the indestructible sword sect. The lightning spear condensed again and he charged toward the sect master of the indestructible sword sect. Block it for me. The invincible Kenzo sect master roared as he slashed out with his sword with all his strength. Boom! The lightning spear collided with the invincible Kenzo sect master's sword light, causing a shocking explosion. Countless tiny bolts of lightning and sword chi shot out in all directions. Then, the invincible Kenzo sect master's sword light violently vibrated and exploded with a boom. The lightning spear didn't stop as it continued to stab toward the invincible Kenzo sect master. The invincible Kenzo roared as it frantically used its remaining strength to dodge to the side. However, it was still a step too late. Half of its body was struck and exploded. The invincible Kenzo sect master was heavily injured and frantically retreated, wanting to escape. However, how could Lu Ming let him escape? Sizzle! Lu Ming punched out, and a total of 7 lightning bolts as thick as a human waist shot toward the invincible Kenzo sect master, enveloping him within. I'm not willing to accept this. The invincible Kenzo sect master roared as he turned into ashes amidst the lightning. Another Overlord-level character had been killed. Run! Run! At this moment, the Scarlet Flame Patriarch and the Boundless Sacred Ground Sacred Leader were so scared that they almost pissed their pants. The two of them fled in 2 different directions. Lu Ming did not hesitate in the slightest. He immediately chased after the Scarlet Flame Patriarch. Comparatively speaking, he would rather let go of the Boundless Sacred Ground's Sacred Master than the Flame Clan's Patriarch. The King Suppression Pagoda enveloped the Scarlet Flame Tribe's Patriarch and followed him like a shadow. He couldn't escape at all and was quickly caught up by Lu Ming. As for the immeasurable Sacred Ground Sacred Master, he had escaped the range of the King Subduing Pagoda. People of the immeasurable Holy Land, follow me. Retreat! Boundless Holy Land's Holy Lord roared. He had managed to escape with great difficulty, so he no longer dared to oppose Lu Ming. He called out to the people of Boundless Holy Land and madly flew out of the star system, disappearing without a trace. Let's go, let's go. Retreat, oh. The people of the Winged Demon Academy and the invincible Kenzo no longer had the heart to stay after seeing their principals and sect masters killed. They all began to flee. Don't let them escape. Kill them. The Ice Soul Patriarch was an extremely decisive person. How could he let go of this opportunity? He roared and charged towards the 2 great sections. The immeasurable Holy Land had fled. As for the Winged Demon Academy and the invincible Kenzo, many of their experts had been killed by Lu Ming, especially the few 3rd-layer Godly King experts. They were all killed by Lu Ming. No one could stop the Ice Soul Patriarch. The other experts of the Ice Soul Patriarch charged towards the Scarlet Flame Tribe. A chaotic battle unfolded. The Ice Soul Patriarch was invincible. He killed the invincible Kenzo and several Godly King experts of the Winged Demon Academy in a few moves. At this moment, Lu Ming caught up with the Scarlet Flame Tribe's Patriarch. Ancestor, save me! The Patriarch of the Flaming Tribe shouted in horror. He wanted to call the Flaming Ancestor to save him, but the Ancestor of the Flaming Tribe couldn't leave because the Ancestor of the Ice Soul Clan was attacking him with all his might. The 2 ancestors were locked in a fierce battle. Die! After Lu Ming caught up with the Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch, he launched a fierce attack. The Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch had also broken through after consuming a King Breakthrough pill. He was on the same level as the Winged Demon Academy's dean and the invincible Kenzo's patriarch. He couldn't stop Lu Ming's attacks. After enduring 2 moves with all his might, he was killed by Lu Ming. With a wave of his hand, Lu Ming put away the Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch's storage ring. Then, he charged towards the Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch. The Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch and the Ice Soul patriarch were engaged in a fierce battle. When he saw Lu Ming charging towards him, the Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch was almost scared to death. He fought with all his might, trying to escape. However, the Ice Soul patriarch knew that this was the best time to kill the Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch. How could he let him escape? The Ice Soul patriarch risked his own injuries to tie down the Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch. He set up countless ice mountains in the sky to block the Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch. Those who cultivated ice-attributed divine power were more effective in intercepting the patriarch. Get lost! Get lost! The Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch kept roaring. His body was like a star as he launched crazy attacks, trying to break out of the encirclement and escape. One by one, the icebergs exploded, but immediately, more icebergs formed in their place. Buzz! At this moment, Lu Ming arrived. The king-subduing pagoda emitted a dazzling light that enveloped the Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch. The Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch's aura suddenly weakened. His star core was greatly suppressed. However, the Ice Soul patriarch was completely fine. How could the Ice Soul patriarch miss this opportunity? He formed an ice sword and slashed out. Boom! Half of the Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch's body was severely injured. Lu Ming didn't even need to do anything. The Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch and the Ice Soul patriarch's strength were originally on par. Now that the Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch was suppressed by the king-subduing pagoda, his strength was greatly weakened. He wasn't a match for the Ice Soul patriarch at all. After being heavily injured in one move, the Scarlet Flame Tribe's patriarch barely managed to block a few moves before he was killed by the Ice Soul patriarch. At this point, the boundless sacred ground had escaped. The Scarlet Flame Tribe, the invincible Kenzo, and the Winged Demon Academy's top experts had all fallen. As for the other top sects, they had long since fled. Lu Ming and the others couldn't be bothered to care about them. Young friend Lu Ming, many thanks. The Ice Soul patriarch cupped his fists and thanked Lu Ming. Senior, there's no need to be so polite. Let's deal with the invincible Kenzo and the Winged Demon Academy first. Lu Ming said. Okay. The Ice Soul patriarch nodded and charged towards the Scarlet Flame Tribe. Although there were still some experts among the Scarlet Flame Tribe that were fighting with the Ice Soul patriarch, the situation was completely one-sided with the Ice Soul patriarch. The Scarlet Flame Tribe's experts were killed one after another by the Ice Soul patriarch. Lu Ming controlled the King Suppression Pagoda and charged towards the invincible Kenzo and the Winged Demon Academy. There weren't many experts left from the invincible Kenzo and the Winged Demon Academy. Some of them had been killed by the Ice Soul patriarch, so there were even fewer left. There was almost no suspense in this battle. Not long after, the experts of the major forces were killed one by one, especially those above the Divine King realm. They were all killed. Only a few of them managed to escape. However, some heavenly gods managed to escape, but the top experts of these sects were all slaughtered. They were only in name now. Soon, they would be occupied by other sections. From then on, the situation of the Qin Tian star field would change drastically. Not long after, the area finally quieted down. The battle had come to an end. Chapter 3103. The battle had come to an end. In the end, the experts of the Winged Demon Academy, the invincible Kenzo, and the Flame tribe had all been killed. Ha ha ha. The patriarch of the Ice Soul clan laughed heartily. He was overjoyed. The Ice Soul clan had benefited greatly from this battle. Not only had they eliminated the Dark Ice tribe, but they had also eliminated their archenemy, the Flame tribe. After leaving this place, he could lead his army to invade the Flame tribe's territory. From then on, the Ice Soul clan would become stronger and stronger. It would not be impossible for them to return to their former glory. The other members of the Ice Soul clan were also smiling. Not only the Ice Soul clan, but everyone in the Kongxian school was also happy. After this battle, the Winged Demon Academy and the invincible Kenzo had been eliminated. Of the three overlords, only the Boundless Sacred Land was left. Although the Boundless Sacred Land was stronger than before, the Kongxian school had Lu Ming. They would most likely surrender obediently. In the future, the Qin 13 sects would be led by the Kongxian school. How could they not be happy? Just as everyone was happily cleaning up the battlefield, a voice suddenly rang out. Lu Ming suddenly felt a chill in his heart. He raised his head and shouted, "Who is it?" Whoosh! As soon as Lu Ming's voice fell, a pitch-black blade light slashed down from the sky. The blade light was extremely fast. It was not aimed at Lu Ming, but the Ice Soul clan's forefather. The Ice Soul clan's forefather's expression changed drastically. He roared and unleashed all his divine power. He pushed his hands out and instantly set up dozens of ice walls above his head. However, when the pitch-black blade light slashed down, the ice walls shattered one after another. In an instant, the dozens of ice walls were all cut open. The blade light did not stop and slashed toward the Ice Soul clan's forefather. Puchi. There was a flash of blood as the Ice Soul clan's forefather was cut in half. Fortunately, the Ice Soul clan's forefather had avoided being hit in the head at the critical moment. Only his body was hit, but he was still severely injured. 5th level King God Realm. The Ice Soul clan's forefather shouted in horror. He could sense that the attacker was a 5th level King God Realm cultivator. What? 5th King God layer? The others were also shocked. Boom! 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 At that moment, a terrifying aura came from the sky. A terrifying pressure pressed down on them. Following that, several black-robed figures appeared in the sky. Lu Ming scanned the area and discovered that there was a total of 18 black-robed men. They were scattered in all directions, keeping a distance from each other. Each of them exuded a terrifying aura, locking onto everyone present, especially Lu Ming. Every single one of them exuded a terrifying aura. Even the weakest of them was no weaker than the Ice Soul clan's old ancestor. The weakest one is in the 4th King God Realm. The face of the Ice Spirit clan's old ancestor was deathly pale. The others were just as horrified. Among the 18 black-cloaked men, the lowest cultivation base was at the 4th sky of King God Realm. Some of them had a terrifying aura, which was several times stronger than the 4th sky of King God Realm. That was definitely a cultivator of the 5th God King layer or above. Why would so many experts appear here all of a sudden? Furthermore, they didn't seem to be here with good intentions. I thought we didn't have to do anything. Who would have thought that those people would be so weak? One of the black-cloaked men said coldly. Although his face couldn't be seen clearly, everyone could feel his cold gaze fixed on Lu Ming. It seems like you're here to kill me? Lu Ming asked. You're quite smart. Not bad, but you can also get rid of everyone here. The black-cloaked man said, his voice filled with murderous intent. The people of the Ice Soul clan and the Kongxian school turned pale. If these experts wanted to kill them, they were dead meat. Although Lu Ming had the king subduing pagoda, how could he deal with so many experts? Who sent you guys here? The Jin family? The winged family? No, it can't be. Lu Ming paused for a moment. His eyes glittered as he said, "Are you sent by the culprit who stole the 9 extinction divine crystal?" The black-cloaked men remained silent. Lu Ming knew that he had guessed correctly. The Jin family, the winged family, and the Qin family were all being watched by the Wu family. It was impossible for them to send so many experts here without anyone noticing. There was only one possibility. They were sent by the culprit who stole the 9 extinction divine crystal. Lu Ming wasn't surprised. Instead, he was happy. Perhaps this time, he could find the culprit. Who was it? Don't talk nonsense with them. Attack and kill them to prevent more trouble. Another black-cloaked man said coldly. Then, he slashed his saber at Lu Ming. The power of this slash was earth-shattering. It was several times stronger than the slash that was aimed at the ancestor of the Ice Soul clan. This person's cultivation had probably surpassed the 5th layer of the Divine King realm and reached the 6th layer of the Divine King realm. Facing such an expert, Lu Ming couldn't do anything. The difference between their cultivation levels was too great. Only death awaited him. However, Lu Ming still had Gu Mo by his side. Gu Mo hadn't made a move before. He had even allowed the boundless sacred ground's sacred leader to escape. "Senior Gu Mo, I'll leave it to you." Lu Ming sent a message to Gu Mo through telepathy. "Finally, you want me to make a move?" Gu Mo chuckled. Then, he appeared in front of Lu Ming and flicked his finger. Boom! As Gu Mo flicked his finger, the air exploded violently. An extremely terrifying energy rushed forward. The black-cloaked man's saber light was like a piece of paper. It crumbled under the terrifying energy. Then, the energy moved toward the black-cloaked man. Ah! The black-robed man only had time to let out a blood-curdling scream before his body was turned into ashes by the force. Gu Mo had killed a 6th layer of the Divine King realm expert with a flick of his finger. Silence. The scene fell into a dead silence. Everyone, including the remaining black-cloaked men, looked at Gu Mo in shock. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. A terrifying expert was killed by Gu Mo with a flick of his finger. What kind of existence was he? Not good. There's a terrifying expert on the other side. Retreat. One of the black-cloaked men reacted and shouted. They clearly knew that the man in the black cloak was a genuine expert of the 6th King God layer. If he could kill a 6th King God layer expert with a flick of his finger, he had to be at least of the 8th King God layer or even higher. Facing such an expert, no matter how many of them there were, only death awaited them. These black-cloaked men were very decisive. Their bodies flickered and they rushed in a direction. They wanted to escape. Trying to escape under my nose? Ridiculous. Gu Mo said coldly. Then, he opened his mouth and sucked. Huff. 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 Suddenly, a terrifying suction force burst out from Gu Mo's mouth. It swept across the sky and enveloped all the black-cloaked men. The flying figures of the black-robed men immediately stiffened. Then, they flew backwards towards the Bone Devil's mouth. Chapter 3104. Ah, these black-robed people screamed in fright. Then, they attacked with all their might. Terrifying attacks burst out one after another. However, as soon as they attacked, their attacks automatically dissipated. Then, one by one, the black-robed men flew into the bone demon's mouth and disappeared. Leave some of them for questioning. Lu Ming shouted. He was afraid that the bone demon would swallow them all. The bone devil nodded and sucked. The dozen or so black-robed men flew into its mouth and were devoured. Only 2 of them were left, but their cultivation bases were crippled and they fell to the ground. This, the Ice Spirit Clan and the Kongxian School were dumbfounded. They felt like they were dreaming. Each and every one of the black-robed men was a terrifying existence. Each and every one of them gave them the feeling that they were invincible. Just now, one of them had severely injured the ancestor of the Ice Spirit clan. From the ancestor of the Ice Spirit clan, they knew that the weakest of the black-robed men was in the fourth layer of the King God realm. Any one of these experts was an existence that could move unhindered in the Qin Tian star field and become the overlord of the Qin Tian star field. However, all of them had been swallowed by an inconspicuous man beside Lu Ming. And this burly man seemed to be very obedient to Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming was unfathomable in everyone's eyes. So, he has such a terrifying expert by his side. No wonder he's been so calm all this time. The patriarch of the Ice Spirit clan muttered. However, he heaved a sigh of relief. At least they were safe. Tell me. Who's behind you? Tell me and I'll give you a quick death. Lu Ming came to the last two black-robed men and started interrogating them. Kill us if you want. Don't expect us to say a word. One of the black-robed men said coldly. You're quite stubborn. Lu Ming's gaze was cold as he stepped forward, crushing the arm of one of the black-robed men. However, the black-robed man only let out a low roar and coldly stared at Lu Ming, not saying a single word. Lu Ming, it seems like these people are specially trained death-sworn. Their bones are tough, and it's almost impossible to get any information out of them. Leave them to me. I'll search their souls. Guo said. Another death warrior. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. Back then in the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Mansion, he was ambushed by some death warriors when he set off from the Wu clan to the Starry Sky camp. Were the two groups of death warriors sent by the same force? Alright, I'll leave it to you. Lu Ming said. Guo nodded and stepped forward to search his soul. But when the Bone Devil began to soul-search them, the two black-robed men let out miserable screams. Their bodies trembled, and then their heads exploded. They directly died. Just as I expected, their souls were placed with a powerful seal. Once their souls are searched, they will explode. Guo shook his head. Damn it! Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. These people were definitely sent by the person who stole the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal. Unfortunately, the clues were cut off. Ice Tribe leader, pack up. Let's go back. Lu Ming then said to the Ice Spirit Tribe leader. Alright, alright. The Ice Spirit Tribe leader nodded repeatedly. At this moment, Lu Ming's position in his heart was high and untouchable. As long as Lu Ming gave the order, he could easily dominate the Qin Tian star field. Of course, Lu Ming had no intention of dominating the Qin Tian star field. After cleaning up the battlefield, they left one after another. After some time, the Ice Spirit Tribe returned to their territory, while Lu Ming and the Kongxian school returned to Kongxian planet. Not long after, the news of the battle with the Dark Ice Tribe spread like a hurricane throughout the Qin Tian star field. The entire Qin Tian star field was shaken. It was as if a strong wind was blowing. Countless people were dumbfounded. Everyone knew that the Qin Tian star field was about to change. Sure enough, one of the 3 overlords, the Immeasurable Sacred Ground Sacred Leader, personally led people to the Kongxian school and expressed his willingness to follow the Kongxian school's lead and obey the Kongxian school's orders. The Immeasurable Sacred Leader was scared out of his wits by the Dark Ice Tribe. After fleeing back to the Immeasurable Sacred Ground, he could not eat or sleep in peace. Lu Ming's strength was too strong, and he was still growing rapidly. Even if he hid in the Immeasurable Sacred Ground and focused on defense, he could not be at ease. Thus, he led people to surrender. The enmity between the Immeasurable Sacred Ground and Lu Ming wasn't that great. Lu Ming also couldn't be bothered to exterminate them, so he accepted the Immeasurable Sacred Ground surrender. As soon as the news spread, the other top sects of the Qin Tian 13 sects could no longer sit still. They led people to surrender, and all of them surrendered to the Kongxian school. In an instant, the Kongxian school's prestige soared. Of course, Lu Ming was too lazy to care about this. He left it all to Ouyang Qingxiang, Yu Wuya, and the others. Ouyang Qingxiang, Yu Wuya, and the others were also very fast. After the immeasurable sacred ground and the other sects surrendered, they immediately gathered these sects and launched an attack on the invincible Kenzo and the Winged Devil Academy's territory. There was no suspense at all. Almost all of the God King realm experts of the Winged Devil Academy and the invincible Kenzo fell in the battle against the Dark Ice tribe. Even if there were some left, they couldn't withstand a single blow from the combined forces of the Kongxian school and the immeasurable sacred ground. In just a few months, the huge territory that the invincible Kenzo and the Winged Devil Academy had originally occupied was occupied by the Kongxian school. Naturally, these territories all belonged to the Kongxian school. The original invincible Kenzo and the Winged Devil Academy's geniuses either surrendered or fled. For example, the invincible Kenzo's son, Sword Dao Wuji, had fled, and his whereabouts were unknown. As for Ling Huyi, the genius who had competed with Lu Ming in the past, he surrendered and joined the Kongxian school. For a time, the Kongxian school had become the overlord of the Qin Tian Star Zone. At the same time, the Ice Soul race had also gathered an army and launched an attack on the Flame race. Not long after the Kongxian school had occupied the invincible Kenzo and the Mystic Academy's territories, the Ice Soul race had also completely conquered the Flame race. The Flame race was almost completely annihilated. The remaining members fled across the universe and fled to other star zones. The Qin Tian Star Zone had become the domain of the Ice Soul race and the Kongxian school. The two forces had practically divided the vast territory of the Qin Tian Star Zone, and all of this was caused by one person, Lu Ming. Lu Ming's name resounded throughout the Qin Tian Star Zone, and he became a legend. During this time, Lu Ming had taken time to return to the chaotic astral river and brought Lu Shenhuang, Ancestral Gragon, Nine Lives Demonic Cicada, and the others to the Qin Tian Star Zone to cultivate. They had originally wanted to go out and explore, and now was the right time to come to the Qin Tian Star Zone. With Lu Ming's current reputation, many of the Kongxian school's resources would be tilted towards them, and they would improve very quickly. After dealing with Qin Tian's matters, Lu Ming returned to the Jiuju Heavenly King residence. Now that the matters in the Qin Tian Star Zone had been resolved, Lu Ming had to put all his attention on Jing Yu's matter. Chapter 3105. Now, Lu Ming's main goal was to deal with Jing Yu's matter. While increasing his strength, he would also prepare for Jing Yu's matter. After a long journey, Lu Ming returned to the starry camp. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming saw a huge battle the moment he returned to the starry camp. In the sky, a few young men were fighting fiercely and it was a chaotic battle. Lu Ming took a closer look and realized that the young men belonged to two different families. How dare you accuse my Lu family of stealing the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal? You're courting death. One of the young men roared. Who else could it be if not your Lu family? The young man who was fighting with him sneered. I said it was your Zhang family who stole the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal. Your Zhang family is the mastermind. The young man from before shouted. Bullshit. Kill. Both sides were locked in a fierce battle and there were many onlookers in the surroundings. In the end, both sides suffered heavy injuries and were wary of each other. Hence, they ended the battle and retreated. Lu Ming pondered for a moment before heading to the place where Blue Merchant lived. You got the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal? Blue Merchant smiled. I got it. Lu Ming smiled and took out the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal and passed it to Blue Merchant. Blue Merchant could pass the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal to the Heavenly King Divine Guards. After that, there was nothing for him to do. I didn't misjudge you. Lan Shang laughed and sized Lu Ming up carefully. You should have cultivated the Universe 10,000 Tao Sutra and mastered many kinds of divine-grade divine powers, right? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, but he soon felt relieved. According to Jingyu, he had obtained the Universe Myriad Tao technique from an ancient ruin and almost no one knew about it. However, that didn't mean that no one knew about it. Blue Merchant was Jingyu's teacher and it was normal for him to know about it. Yes. Lu Ming nodded and admitted it. There are advantages and disadvantages to being able to wield multiple types of divine power. The advantage is that it can make your combat strength extremely powerful. Every time you break through a level, your combat strength will skyrocket, far surpassing those of the same level. However, there are also many disadvantages. First, the energy required for cultivation is too much. The speed at which you have improved has already exceeded my expectations. The other thing is that you need to comprehend the divine power of origin. For an ordinary person, it would take them a lifetime to comprehend the divine power of origin. Moreover, you have to comprehend so many different types of divine power. Blue Merchant said all of this in one breath. He paused and pondered for a moment before continuing, therefore, you have to act according to your ability. The amount of divine power you have is not the more you have, but it has to be within your control. If it seriously affects your cultivation, you have to reduce the amount of divine power you cultivate. Alright, Lu Ming understands. Lu Ming nodded. He had discovered this long ago. Therefore, during this period of time, he did not cultivate the other divine-grade techniques that he had obtained. He was afraid that he would bite off more than he could chew. Show me all of the divine powers you have mastered. I want to see how far you have mastered them. Blue Merchant said. Lu Ming nodded. Then, he performed the 7 types of divine-grade divine powers that he had mastered one by one. The Sovereign's divine power has already awakened the divine power of origin. The indestructible sword force is 99% awakened. As for the others, there is still a long way to go, Blue Merchant muttered under his breath. Then, a jade token appeared in his hand and he handed it to Lu Ming, saying, among the divine powers you have mastered, I am most familiar with the Sovereign's divine power. The divine power I mastered in the past was also the Sovereign's divine power. Here are some of my cultivation experiences. Take a look. As for the other divine powers, I need some time to prepare. You can go back first and come to me after some time. I will guide you in cultivating the other divine powers. Many thanks, Uncle Lan Shu. Lu Ming received the jade token and quickly expressed his gratitude. He was overjoyed in his heart. Blue Merchant was Jingyu's teacher in the past. Before the Star Core was destroyed, he was one of the strongest experts in the Taishu dynasty. His strength was unfathomable. With Blue Merchant's cultivation experiences and his guidance, Lu Ming's cultivation speed would definitely increase exponentially. He would not have to take many detours. You can go back and take a look. Blue Merchant said. Lu Ming bid farewell and left Blue Merchant's residence. He headed back to his own residence. However, when he was near his residence, he saw 2 young men fighting fiercely. Lu Ming found it strange. Although the space camp was filled with competition, the frequency of fights was not as high. He had just returned and he had already seen several big fights. There were many people watching from the side. Lu Ming immediately saw Wu Ming and Wu Yu. Lu Ming flew over. Lu Ming, you're back. Wu Ming and Wu Yu were overjoyed when they saw Lu Ming. It's Lu Ming. Others also saw Lu Ming, especially the geniuses from the Jin family and the Qin family. There was a flash of surprise in their eyes when they saw Lu Ming. In their eyes, Lu Ming was most likely going to die in Qin Tian Star Field. They did not expect that Lu Ming was still alive and had returned to the space camp.
This made the other sects feel uncomfortable. Lu Ming ignored the Jin and Qin families' sky prides and landed beside Wu Ming and Wu Yu. He asked, "What's going on?" "When I returned, I saw several fights." "It's because of the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal," Wu Ming said. 9 Extinction Divine Crystal? Lu Ming was surprised. Wasn't the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal given to him to handle in Qin Tian Star Field? What did it have to do with these families? Although we know the whereabouts of the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal, we've confirmed one thing. There's a spy in the 9 Extinction Heavenly Lord Mansion who helped outsiders steal the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal. However, this spy was not found. Hence, the families in the 9 Extinction Heavenly Lord Mansion began to suspect each other. Especially those families who have a grudge against each other. They accused each other of being the spy and the conflict intensified. Wu Ming explained. Hence, in the space camp, the sky prides of the various families were fighting each other. Outside the space camp, the families were even attacking each other. Some families were in a frenzy. Now, the 9 Extinction Heavenly Lord Mansion is in chaos. Wu Yu explained. Lu Ming was stunned. He did not expect the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal to cause so much trouble. In the air, the two young men exchanged more than 100 blows. In the end, the young man escaped with serious injuries and the battle ended. Lu Ming chatted with Wu Ming and Wu Yu for a while before flying back to his residence. The sky prides of the Jin and Qin families looked at the direction where Lu Ming left with cold eyes. They exchanged a few words and left the space camp. They were most likely going back to report the news. Young Master. When Lu Ming returned to his courtyard, Qiu Autumn Moon flew out with a joyful face. She had been worried about Lu Ming going back to Qin Tian Star Field alone to steal the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal. Now that Lu Ming had returned, she was relieved. Qiu Autumn Moon, you've made a breakthrough in your cultivation? Lu Ming looked at Qiu Autumn Moon and was surprised. After not seeing her for a while, Qiu Autumn Moon's cultivation had broken through to the half-step Divine King realm. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. Chapter 3106. Autumn Moon's cultivation had reached the half-step Divine King realm. When Lu Ming went to Qin Tian Star Field, Autumn Moon's cultivation was only at level 9 Heavenly God realm. In addition to the time taken to travel, it had only been a few years. This speed was too exaggerated. Yes. Autumn Moon nodded and said, "It's mainly because I have not digested the last inheritance. That's why my cultivation has progressed so fast." Good. Lu Ming was overjoyed. The faster Autumn Moon progressed, the happier he was. After chatting with Autumn Moon for a while, the two entered their respective rooms to cultivate. However, after Lu Ming entered his room, he could not calm down. His mind was still troubled by the person behind the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal. Who is this person behind the scenes? What is his purpose? Lu Ming frowned and pondered. He had a feeling that the person behind the scenes had instructed the Dark Ice Tribe to steal the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal but did not take it himself. His purpose was definitely not that simple. How can I find out who is behind the scenes? Lu Ming whispered. The person behind the scenes had sent men of sacrifice to kill him several times. Lu Ming would not be at ease until he found out who was behind the scenes. Who knew if he would be assassinated again when he went out in the future? Lu Ming could not guarantee that he would be safe every time. How can I find out who is behind the scenes? Are there any clues that I have overlooked? Lu Ming calmed down and thought quietly. Thoughts flashed across his mind as he recalled the incident of the 9 Extinction God Crystal being stolen from him. Wait, suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He realized that he had overlooked an important clue. This clue was the Demon Capital Mountain. In the Demon Capital Mountain,
Lu Ming had heard more than once that the demon capital mountain had a backer in the 9 extinction heavenly king mansion. Therefore, no one dared to touch the demonic night spring of the demon capital mountain. Otherwise, with the dark night demon king's cultivation, he would not be able to protect the demonic night spring. It was very obvious that Devil Capital Mountain's backer was very likely the mastermind behind the 9 extinction god crystal incident. And there must be people who knew who the backer behind the Devil Capital Mountain was, which was why they didn't dare to make a move. If it was just hearsay, how could those powers resist the temptation of the Devil Night Spring? If that was the case, wouldn't they be able to find the mastermind behind the Demon Capital Mountain as long as they could find out who was backing them? That's right, I actually overlooked such a simple thing. Lu Ming clapped his hands and shook his head with a bitter smile. He had been so focused on the evidence left behind by the Night Devil that he neglected such a simple logical problem. Go ask Wu Zifeng. Lu Ming smiled and secretly left the Starry Sky camp, heading towards the Wu clan. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the Wu residence and saw Wu Zifeng. In a courtyard, Lu Ming, Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong sat at a round table. During this period of time, Yu Linglong had been cultivating in the Wu clan. Their cultivation had progressed very quickly and they had both stepped into the heavenly god realm. Zifeng, you should have heard that Devil Capital Mountain has the 9 extinction heavenly king mansion backing them. I've been thinking about something. Since other forces don't dare to have any ideas about the Devil Capital Mountain, they must know who the backer behind the Devil Capital Mountain is. As long as we find out who the backer behind the Devil Capital Mountain is, it would be equivalent to finding the mastermind behind the theft of the 9 extinction god crystal. Lu Ming said. That's right, why didn't I think of that? Wu Zifeng clapped his hands and his eyes lit up. Does your Wu clan know who the backer behind the Devil Capital Mountain is? Lu Ming asked. I'm afraid I don't know. Wu Zifeng shook his head. You don't know? Lu Ming was surprised. Yes, rumor has it that the Devil Capital Mountain has a backer behind them. Other forces don't dare to have any ideas about them. Those forces don't refer to the forces of the 9 extinction heavenly king mansion. Wu Zifeng said. Why do you say that? Lu Ming asked. Although the Devil Capital Mountain's Devil Night Spring is precious, the forces of the 9 extinction heavenly king mansion don't put it in their eyes. For example, our Wu clan, Jin clan, Qin clan, etc. Although some of them have heard of the Devil Capital Mountain, they don't put it in their eyes at all. They are too lazy to send people to deal with the Devil Capital Mountain. It's not that they are afraid of their so-called backer. Those forces that are afraid of the backer behind the Devil Capital Mountain should be referring to the major forces of the Chu Tian star field. Wu Zifeng explained. I see. Lu Ming suddenly understood. The Chu Tian star field was close to the Qin Tian star field. It was also the border of the 9 extinction heavenly king mansion. Powerful forces like the Wu clan and Jin clan didn't care about the Devil Capital Mountain at all. Naturally, there was no such thing as fear. Those who had ideas about the Devil Capital Mountain and those who were afraid of the backer behind the Devil Capital Mountain were only the forces of the Chu Tian star field. For example, in the Qin Tian star field, if a small force had some kind of treasure, only the Qin Tian 13 sects, the Ice Soul race, or the Scarlet Flame race would have their eyes on it. As for the Wu clan and Jin clan, why would they care about the treasure of a small force? Then as long as we find the powerful forces of the Chu Tian star field and find out who they are afraid of, wouldn't we know who the mastermind is? Lu Ming's eyes lit up again. That's right. As far as I know, there are a total of 2 strongest forces in the Chu Tian star field. One is the Wind Moon sect, the other is the ancient Han clan. Wu Zifeng said. Alright, I'll make a trip to the Chu Tian star field. Lu Ming said. Wait, Brother Lu, I'll find someone familiar with the Chu Tian star field to accompany you. After all, the Chu Tian star field is too big. Wu Zifeng said. All right. Lu Ming nodded and did not refuse. Having someone to lead the way was better than him searching blindly. Wu Zifeng took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent a message. Then, they chatted while waiting. They did not wait for long before a middle-aged man came to the courtyard. Young master, why are you looking for me? The middle-aged man bowed to Wu Zifeng. Wu Shan, it's like this. Wu Zifeng told him what had happened and said, go to the Chu Tian star field with brother Lu and investigate. Yes, young master. Wu Shan accepted the order and looked at Lu Ming, saying, young master Lu, please. All right, there's no time to lose. Let's go. Lu Ming nodded and said goodbye to Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong before leaving the Wu clan with Wu Shan. Lu Ming did not return to the Starry Sky camp. He left the 9 Extinction Heavenly King residence with Wu Shan and took the teleportation formation to the Chu Tian star field. On the way, Lu Ming found out that Wu Shan was a 3rd-layer Divine King realm cultivator. The two of them took the teleportation formation and finally arrived at the Chu Tian star field. The two biggest forces in the Chu Tian star field are the Wind Moon sect and the Han family. These two forces have never dared to touch the demon capital mountain. Instead, they often buy the demonic night spring from the demon capital mountain. They definitely know who is behind the demon capital mountain. This place is closer to the Wind Moon sect. Let's go to their headquarters first. Wu Shan suggested. Wu Shan, you're more familiar with this place. You lead the way. Lu Ming said with a smile. Chapter 3107. The two of them headed towards the Wind Moon sect's headquarters. However, when they arrived at the Wind Moon sect's headquarters, they were dumbfounded. Dilapidated, ruined, and a complete mess. In the Wind Moon sect's headquarters, the mountain range was destroyed, the ground cracked, and the palace collapsed. It was a doomsday scene. Among the dilapidated walls, there were corpses. On the wide ground, there were corpses everywhere. The smell of blood filled the air. The Wind Moon sect was annihilated. Damn it, we were too late. Lu Ming roared. Obviously, the mastermind wanted to annihilate the sect and erase the evidence. They were one step ahead of them and annihilated the Wind Moon sect. Let's go and see if there are any survivors. Lu Ming suppressed his anger and rushed forward. However, there were corpses everywhere. Not even chickens or dogs were spared. Not a single person was seen alive. Such ruthless means, such ruthless means. Lu Ming roared. Lu Ming was considered someone who had seen big scenes, but such ruthless means were rare. How many people did the Wind Moon sect, a huge force that dominated the Chu Tian star zone, have? It was hard to calculate, but now they were all dead. No one was left alive. It seems like these people were killed not long ago. Otherwise, the news would have spread. Wu Shan frowned. Not good, let's go to the Han family. Quick. Lu Ming's face changed. The other party annihilated the Wind Moon sect and would definitely not let the Han family off. Let's go. Wu Shan's face changed too. Immediately, the two of them rushed towards the Han family. The Han family's headquarters was also on a vast planet. On this planet, there was a mountain range with the densest divine aura. Most of the Han family members lived here. However, when Lu Ming and Wu Shan arrived, they discovered that the mountain range had also collapsed. The palace was destroyed and corpses were scattered among the rocks. The smell of blood assailed their nostrils. It was like hell on earth. Damn it! Lu Ming roared. They were too late again. The other party was ruthless. The two of them were unwilling to give up. They searched the ruins to see if they could find any survivors. Unfortunately, they were all corpses. Even the desolate beasts had been killed. Not a single one was left alive. Lu Ming's face was extremely gloomy. It wasn't easy to find a clue. Could it be that it was broken again? Whoosh! Whoosh! Suddenly, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. Several black-robed men rushed out from a broken wall and surrounded the two of them. An ice-cold killing intent enveloped the two of them. It's them. At first glance, Lu Ming recognized that these people were very similar to the Death Warriors who had tried to assassinate Lu Ming in the Qin Tian Star Field. These people exuded a strong murderous aura, as if they were demons. Did you kill all the people here? Lu Ming asked in an extremely cold voice. Nonsense. Hee, looks like there are still some fish that escaped the net from the Han clan. They actually came back to court death. A black-robed man said coldly. Suddenly, a saber light burst out from his hand and slashed towards Lu Ming. These people obviously didn't know Lu Ming. The black-robed man who attacked was a first-layer King God Realm cultivator. When he saw that Lu Ming was only a sixth-layer heavenly god, he thought that he could easily kill him. Kill! Lu Ming shouted coldly and threw out a punch. The bracelet on his wrist that was Qiuqiu shone and a bolt of lightning shot out. Bang! The saber light of the black-robed man was shattered. The bolt of lightning struck the man's body. The man screamed in pain and turned into ashes. One move, instant kill. The remaining black-robed man was stunned. Then, he shouted angrily, "Kid, you're courting death. Kill them." The remaining 5 black-robed men were enraged and attacked together. These black-robed men were all King God Realm cultivators. The strongest one was at the 3rd layer King God Realm. Logically speaking, they should be able to kill Lu Ming and Qiuqiu easily. However, Lu Ming had Qiuqiu with him. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and threw out another punch. Qiuqiu used all of his strength. Thick bolts of lightning shot out from his hand. The 5 black-robed men were all covered in lightning. Bang! 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 The 5 black-robed men screamed and were sent flying. They fell heavily on the ground. Their bodies had turned into ashes and there was no sign of life. Even the 3rd layer King God Realm cultivator was killed. Since Qiuqiu had eaten the treasures Lu Ming had taken from Star Moon Ancient City, its aura had become stronger and stronger. Its cultivation base had increased rapidly. Now, it was close to the 3rd layer King God Realm. Naturally, its strength had also increased. The lightning it shot out could easily kill a 3rd layer King God Realm cultivator. Wuxian was ready to fight, but when he was about to make a move, he found that the enemy was already dead. Young Master Lu Ming, you really live up to your reputation. Wuxian exclaimed. Wuxian, these men of sacrifice are still here. It means that the Han family was destroyed not long ago. Let's look around. Maybe there are still survivors. Lu Ming said. Immediately, the two of them started to search the area. However, they were much more careful. They restrained their auras and hid their figures, afraid that the men of sacrifice would discover them. The overall strength of the Chu Tian Star area was much stronger than the Qin Tian Star area. As one of the 2 overlords of the Chu Tian Star area, the Han family was also very strong. They were much stronger than the Flaming Tribe and the Ice Soul Tribe of the Qin Tian Star area. They definitely had experts above the 5th layer of the King God Realm. If they could destroy the Han family in such a short time, the experts sent by the other party were definitely terrifying. If they encountered such experts, Lu Ming and the others would be in trouble. Be careful. There are people here. Lu Ming suddenly said while walking. He and Wuxian hid well. Swoosh. 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 Beams of black light shot up into the sky, breaking through the clouds and rushing into the starry sky. It was the men of sacrifice. The men of sacrifice suddenly left the area, which confused Lu Ming and Wuxian. The two of them pondered for a while and continued to search the area. However, they found nothing. There are people over there. After a while, Lu Ming and Wuxian saw some figures flashing in front of them. They restrained their auras and approached carefully. They saw a few men in black robes. There are no survivors here. However, we just received news that the core members of the Han family are training outside the Red Flame Star. They probably know our secret. Our superiors want us to go to the Red Flame Star to kill them. One of the men in black robes said. Although his voice wasn't loud, Lu Ming and Wuxian still heard him. Let's go. This time, we can't let the core members of the Han family go. Another man in black robes said. Then, they shot up into the sky and flew into the starry sky. There are survivors from the Han family? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. From what they said, it seemed that the survivors of the Han family might know something important. The men in black robes who had left before were probably heading to the Red Flame Star. The survivors of the Han family must not die. We must find the survivors of the Han family before the enemy finds them. Lu Ming said firmly. I know where the Red Flame Star is. Follow me. Wuxian said. Okay, let's go. Then, the two of them shot up into the sky and turned into two beams of light, rushing into the starry sky. The two of them crossed the starry sky and came to the nearest teleportation platform. They stepped into the teleportation platform and rushed to the Red Flame Star. Chapter 3108. The Scarlet Flame Planet was located in the south of the Chu Tian star field. It was a barren land. The environment here was very complicated. Stars would often explode, affecting the environment. The environment here was very hot. On the Scarlet Flame Planet, there were flames everywhere. Many fire elemental creatures and fire elemental treasures were born here. The people of the Chu Tian star field loved to come here for adventure and training. The Han family had avoided disaster because they had core members who came to the Scarlet Flame Planet for adventure and training. However, the teleportation array could not transport them directly to the Scarlet Flame Planet. It could only transport them to a planet far away from the Scarlet Flame Planet, and they had to fly a long distance. Lu Ming and Wuxian traversed the starry sky and flew towards the Scarlet Flame Planet. Lu Ming, I'm hungry. I want to eat. Do you still have the treasures you gave me last time? I want to eat. Suddenly, Qiuqiu's voice rang in Lu Ming's mind. Clearly, the treasures that Lu Ming gave Qiuqiu last time had been refined by Qiuqiu. Of course. Here. Lu Ming took out a few treasures he obtained from Star Moon Ancient City and gave them to Qiuqiu. Lu Ming obtained about a dozen treasures. These treasures had lost a lot of their spirituality, but the materials were still very precious. Lu Ming planned to let Qiuqiu eat them all. Qiuqiu turned into a metal ball and opened its mouth. It stuffed the treasures into its mouth and started chewing. Wuxian was dumbfounded. Lu Ming, I feel like I'm about to evolve. Qiuqiu said. Really? Then you have to cultivate well. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Qiuqiu turned back into a bracelet and wore it on Lu Ming's wrist. The two of them continued flying. Even with their cultivation, it took them half a month to reach the Scarlet Flame Planet. In the void in front of them, there was a huge scarlet planet that was rotating slowly. The two of them rushed towards the Scarlet Flame Planet and slowly descended. Where are the Han family survivors? Lu Ming frowned. On the Scarlet Flame Planet, there were mountains that reached into the clouds. On these mountains, there were many scarlet plants. The roars of desolate beasts could be heard constantly. As far as the eye could see, it was boundless. It was extremely difficult to find someone on such a vast and boundless planet. However, even if it was difficult to find, he still had to find it. The two of them flew high up in the sky and began to search. However, after searching for 10 days, he still found nothing. Lu Ming became a little anxious. It's not easy for us to find them, but it's also not easy for those men of sacrifice to find them. This is a good thing, Wu Shan advised. Lu Ming nodded, and the two of them continued their search. In the blink of an eye, another few days passed. Wang. Suddenly, a powerful aura emanated from Lu Ming's wrist. This aura came from Qiuqiu. Qiuqiu flew out from Lu Ming's wrist and turned into a ball. It floated in the air and emitted an aura that grew stronger and stronger. It was about to break through. Qiuqiu was actually about to evolve and break through at a time like this. Lu Ming smiled wryly. Of all times, it had to break through at this moment. However, Lu Ming could only stop and wait for Qiuqiu to complete its breakthrough before continuing. He couldn't just leave Qiuqiu here alone. Wu Shan also looked at Qiuqiu in surprise. He said, "Lu Ming, why don't you wait here? I'll look around first. Then I'll have to trouble you." Lu Ming said helplessly. This was the only thing he could do for now. Wu Shan nodded. He turned into a beam of rainbow light and left the place. Lu Ming, on the other hand, waited there. Luckily, Lu Ming didn't have to wait too long this time. A few days later, a powerful attractive force erupted from Qiuqiu's body. The divine qi of heaven and earth frantically converged towards Qiuqiu. Qiuqiu was about to break through. Immediately, Lu Ming took out a large number of high-grade divine crystals and shattered them. They turned into dense divine qi that surged towards Qiuqiu and was absorbed by it. Boom! Suddenly, Qiuqiu's aura skyrocketed. It broke through a bottleneck and entered a new level. Third King God Realm. Qiuqiu had entered the Third King God Realm from the Second King God Realm. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, a steady stream of divine qi continued to converge towards Qiuqiu, stabilizing its cultivation base. At this moment, Lu Ming took out a sound transmission jade talisman and sent a message to Wu Shan, asking him to come back and meet him. Half a day later, Qiuqiu's aura stabilized. "Lu Ming, I've broken through." "Huh, your treasures are too effective." Qiuqiu grinned. Lu Ming was also surprised. It seemed that the treasures he had brought back from Star Moon Ancient City were indeed extraordinary. Although their spiritual energy had been severely depleted, it had still helped Qiuqiu break through another level in such a short time. One should know that breaking through to the King God Realm wasn't easy. Now that Qiuqiu had broken through to the Third King God Realm, its strength had undoubtedly increased. Amazing! Lu Ming exaggerated. Then, he had Qiuqiu turn into a bracelet and wear it on Lu Ming's wrist. Whoosh! After a while, a beam of light rushed over. It was Wu Shan. "Wu Shan, do you have any clues?" Lu Ming asked. "I do. I just saw a few black-clothed death warriors flying in a direction. I think they might have found the traces of the Han family survivors." Wu Shan said. "What? Let's go, let's follow them." Lu Ming's expression changed. If they found the Han family survivors first and killed them, then the clues would be cut off. Wu Shan led the way and the two quickly flew in a certain direction. In a flaming valley, a young woman was fighting a flaming lion. The flaming lion was extremely huge. It was dozens of meters tall and had a powerful aura. It was an 8th-layer heavenly god. On the other hand, the young woman was only a 6th-layer heavenly god, but she was evenly matched with the lion. It was obvious that the young woman was also a peerless genius. In fact, the young woman was the third daughter of the Han family's patriarch, Han Ing. She was extremely talented since she was young and had mastered divine-grade divine force. She was the #1 genius of the Han family's younger generation. Not far away, there were two old men. They were both in the Divine King realm. They had accompanied Han Ning to the Crimson Flame planet to train. It was obvious that they were unaware that the Han family had been wiped out. Young lady's cultivation is getting stronger. I believe she will soon reach the 7th layer Heavenly God realm. One of the old men said with a smile while stroking his beard. That's right. In a few years, when young lady's cultivation is higher, she will be sent to the 9-Ju Heavenly King Palace to cultivate. If she's lucky enough to join the 9-Ju Heavenly King Palace's Starry Sky Camp, it will be a meteoric rise. In the future, our Han family will be able to surpass the Wind Moon sect and dominate the Chu Tian star field. The other old man said with a smile. He looked at Han Ning with doting eyes. Roar! The flaming lion roared furiously. Its battle with Han Ning was getting more intense. Han Ning yelled. The long sword in her hand emitted sword rays. Her attacks became sharper and sharper, slowly gaining the upper hand. After a few more moves, Han Ning seized the opportunity and struck the flaming lion's vital point with his sword, killing it. Chapter 3109. Great! The two old men clapped their hands and laughed after Han Ning killed the fiery lion. Third mistress, you're only a step away from the 7th layer Heaven God realm. I believe you'll be able to achieve a breakthrough soon. Once you've achieved a breakthrough, we'll head back. I believe the patriarch will be shocked. One of the old men said. Sure, I'll try my best to achieve a breakthrough within 3 months. Han Ning nodded with a firm gaze. Whoosh! 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 At that instant, several black rays were fired from afar. In just a few breaths' time, more than 10 black-robed figures appeared in the sky, surrounding Han Ning and his crew. Their bodies were emitting icy auras. Han Ning and the two old men were shocked. Subconsciously, the two old men protected Han Ning in the middle. Who are you? One of the old men asked. You're Han Ning, the third mistress of the Han clan? One of the black-robed figures glanced at Han Ning and asked. That's right, I'm Han Ning. Han Ning said. He, very well, we've finally found you. One of the black-robed figures uttered a hollow laugh. You're looking for me. Why are you here? Han Ning asked. Of course, we're here to kill you. The black-robed figure laughed coldly. Han Ning and the two old men were startled upon hearing this. Who are you? You should know that we're from the Han clan. If you dare to touch us, the Han clan won't forgive you. Han Ning snapped. The Han clan was one of the overlords of the Chu Tian starfield. They were extremely powerful. In the Chu Tian starfield, very few people dared to not give the Han clan face, let alone kill a member of the Han clan. He, the Han clan won't forgive us? The black-robed figures burst out laughing mockingly. The black-robed figures did not make their move immediately, as if they wanted to see the despair on Han Ning and her crew's faces. One of them said with a hollow laugh, I bet you have no idea that your Han clan has been eliminated. Not even a chicken or a dog was spared. Only a few of the core members of the Han clan are left. He. Han Ning and the two old men shuddered upon hearing this. Their faces were filled with disbelief. Impossible, you're lying. Are you trying to scare us with such a method? Don't even think about it, we won't fall for it. Han Ning yelled in disbelief. You don't believe me? I'll make you give up then. Take a look at this. One of the black-robed figures took out a shadow stone. The stone glowed and projected a projection. On the screen was the scene of the Han clan being annihilated. One by one, the members of the Han clan were killed on the spot. No, no, no. Han Ying's figure began to tremble. His face turned extremely pale, without any sign of blood. The two old men from the Han clan were about the same. He, aren't you feeling hopeless? He. More than 10 black-robed men sneered. Seeing Han Ying and the others in despair, they felt very happy. They could have killed Han Ying and the others immediately, but they chose not to do so. They wanted to see the despair in Han Ying and the others. These men of sacrifice had been trained harshly since they were young. Their lives were in the hands of others, and they were a little perverted. Why did you do this? Why did you destroy my Han clan? An old man from the Han clan roared. That's because your Han family knows something you shouldn't know. A black-robed man sneered. I'll kill you. Han Ying screamed. She was about to pounce on the black-robed figures, but one of the old men waved his hand and trapped Han Ying with his divine power. Miss, the Han clan has been destroyed. You can't die. You must escape. One of the old men from the Han clan shouted. That's right. You're the only descendant of the Han clan. You can't die. We'll save you even if we have to risk our lives. You can't die. The other old man shouted. You want to live? How naive. All right, I'll send you on your way. One of the black-robed figures said coldly. His killing intent was cold. Charge. The two old men from the Han clan led Han Ying and launched a fierce attack. The two old men from the Han clan weren't weak. They were both third heaven divine god realm experts. Their attacks were as fast as lightning. Bam! Bam! One of the black-robed figures was careless and was sent flying by the two old men. He spat out blood. You're courting death. The remaining black-robed figures shouted coldly. A few terrifying saber lights shot towards Han Ying and the two old men from the Han clan. They were as fast as lightning. There were two fourth heaven divine god realm experts among the black-robed figures. The two old men from the Han clan were no match for them. As soon as the black-robed figures attacked, the two old men from the Han clan knew that they couldn't stop them. You guys run. I'll hold them back. One of the old men from the Han clan shouted. He turned around and pounced on the black-robed figures. His body emitted a dazzling light. He wanted to detonate his star core to take them down with him. Grandpa Lu. Han Ying screamed. Run. The old man shouted. Then, his body exploded. The explosion of a third heaven divine god realm cultivator was extremely powerful. However, when he self-detonated, the dozen or so black-robed men were already prepared for it. They all retreated at the same time. They were as fast as lightning, avoiding the destructive force produced by the old man's self-destruction. Some of them only suffered light injuries. The remaining old man from the Han clan took Han Ying and flew away quickly. Chase! The black-robed figures shouted coldly. They turned into rays of black light and chased after Han Ying and the old man. The old man from the Han clan was a third heaven divine god realm cultivator. Moreover, he was carrying Han Ying. He couldn't run fast enough. The black-robed figures quickly closed the distance between them. Does God want to destroy the Han clan? Does he want to kill the last member of the Han clan? The old man from the Han clan was furious. He wasn't afraid of death. He was just afraid that he couldn't protect Han Ying. There are people. Suddenly, his eyes lit up as he saw two figures rapidly approaching from the front. Only third heaven divine god realm cultivators. What a pity. The old man from the Han clan became gloomy immediately. Of course, he saw Lu Ming and Wuxian. He thought that Lu Ming and Han Ying had come out to train. Third heaven divine god realm cultivators couldn't help them. You two, run. It's dangerous here. The old man from the Han clan shouted to warn Lu Ming and the others. However, Lu Ming and the others had come for Han Ning. How could they leave? They continued to rush towards Han Ning and the old man from the Han clan. Die! At that moment, the two black-robed figures were about to catch up with Han Ning and the others. They slashed their sabers. A terrifying saber light slashed towards Han Ning at an astonishing speed. Be careful! Lu Ming shouted. He was still a distance away from Han Ning and the others. He wanted to help them, but it was too late. At the critical moment, the old man from the Han clan pushed Han Ning away. He turned around and blocked the attack alone. The old man from the Han clan slashed out a sword light. However, a third Heaven Divine God Realm Cultivator was much weaker than a fourth Heaven Divine God Realm Cultivator. The saber light slashed down and the sword light shattered. The old man from the Han clan tried his best to dodge, but one of his arms was cut off. The old man from the Han clan hastily retreated. He coughed up blood and his face turned pale. Chapter 31:10. The old man from the Han family was severely injured and his face turned pale. However, because he had resisted for a while, Lu Ming and Wuxian finally arrived. Lu Ming used his god power to catch the old man from the Han family. His god power flowed into the old man's body to stabilize his injuries. He asked, "Senior, are you all right? You? Why didn't you leave?" The old man from the Han clan sighed as he spoke. Leave. None of you will be able to leave. At this moment, the black-robed men had arrived. More than 10 of them surrounded Lu Ming and the others. It was none of your business, but you came here to die. Then, I will kill you as well. One of the black-robed men glanced at Lu Ming and Wuxian coldly. However, Lu Ming ignored the black-robed men. He looked at Han Ning and the old man from the Han family and asked, "You too, are you from the Han family?" Han Ning and the old man from the Han family were surprised. "That's right. We are from the Han family." "Who are you?" the old man from the Han family asked. "We are here to save you. The Han family has been destroyed, but you can't die," Lu Ming said. "Save us? Unfortunately, they are too strong." The old man from the Han family sighed. "You want to save us? Let's attack together and kill them. Let's end this quickly." A black-robed man of the fourth King God realm shouted coldly. He slashed his saber at Lu Ming. Lu Ming had dared to ignore him, so he would kill Lu Ming first. "Be careful," the old man from the Han family shouted. Although he knew he would die today, he was still anxious. "Let me," Lu Ming said indifferently. He took a step forward and appeared in front of the old man. He threw a punch at the black-robed man's saber light. When Lu Ming threw a punch, Chiuchiu wriggled on its own and wrapped Lu Ming's fist tightly. Clang! Lu Ming's fist collided with the other party's saber and there was a deafening sound. The saber vibrated continuously. The black-robed man's body was also shaken and he was pushed back. What? The others were astonished. Lu Ming had defeated the black-cloaked man, who was a cultivator of the fifth King God layer. The Han clan members' eyes lit up. Perhaps they were saved. "Damn it, let's kill this brat first." The black-robed man was also greatly shocked. He roared, and an even more shocking aura burst out from his body. He used his full strength to attack Lu Ming. He did not use his full strength in that move just now. Kill! Kill! The other black-robed men also charged towards Lu Ming. The combined might of more than 10 black-robed men was astonishing. That's great. Let's get rid of them all at once. Lu Ming's gaze turned cold as he punched out again. Creak creak creak, this time, bolts of lightning shot out from Lu Ming's fist. More than 10 huge bolts of lightning shot out from his fist and rushed towards the black-robed men. The attacks of the black-robed men collapsed after being hit by the lightning bolts. Their bodies twitched as they were sent flying backwards. Except for the 2 cultivators of the 4th king god layer, the rest of the black-robed men fell on the ground. Their bodies were charred black, and they were no longer breathing. These black-robed men were killed instantly. Only the 2 cultivators of the 4th king god layer were still alive. However, they were severely injured. Their bodies were charred black, and black smoke was rising from them. Their auras were extremely weak. Xiaofan had just broken through to the 3rd king god layer, so it had the ability to kill cultivators of the 4th king god layer. However, its power was too scattered, which was why the 2 cultivators of the 4th king god layer survived. Seeing this, Han Ning and the old man of the Han clan were dumbfounded. They thought they were dreaming. Lu Ming had killed more than 10 black-robed men with one move. Run! Run! The remaining 2 black-robed men rushed in 2 different directions, frantically fleeing. Xiaofan, kill! Lu Ming waved his hand. Xiaofan flew towards one of the black-robed men. That black-robed man was severely injured, so his speed was greatly reduced. Xiaofan caught up with him in a few moves. A saber extended from Xiaofan's body and slashed down. The black-robed man tried his best to resist. However, even if he was in his best condition, he wouldn't be Xiaofan's opponent, let alone when he was severely injured. Xiaofan's saber slashed down and cut the black-robed man into 2 halves, killing him on the spot. Then, Xiaofan turned around and dashed towards the other black-robed man. The distance between Xiaofan and that black-robed man was getting closer and closer. That black-robed man knew he couldn't escape. He shouted, "If you kill us, you will die too." Blood-tongue drawl, that black-robed man suddenly stopped, turned around and roared. His body emitted a strange red light. Then, he opened his mouth and a small red snake flew out of his mouth. That little snake was not an illusory body. Instead, it was a real snake. Bam! As soon as the small snake flew out, it exploded and turned into a ray of bloody light that charged towards Lu Ming. The speed of the bloody light was shockingly fast. Lu Ming wanted to dodge, but it was too late. The bloody light rushed into Lu Ming's body and disappeared. Lu Ming carefully sensed his body and found that he was completely fine. He circulated his divine power but didn't discover the existence of the bloody light. At that moment, Xiaofan had caught up to the black-robed man and killed him with a slash of his saber. "Come, let's leave this place quickly." After killing the black-robed man, Xiaofan flew back to Lu Ming's wrist and turned back into a bracelet. Lu Ming came to Han Ning and the others. "Who are you people? Why did you save us?" The Han family elder asked. "We'll talk later. Let's leave quickly." That black-robed man was only one wave. There are more black-robed men on this planet. If we encounter stronger ones, we will all die. Lu Ming said. Han Ning and the Han family elder nodded. The few of them rushed into the sky. Soon, they flew out of the atmosphere and into the universe. "Let's go to the nearest teleportation portal first," Han Ning said. "No, since these black-robed men are looking for you in this area, they must have set up a trap. There must be experts guarding the teleportation portals nearby. If we go there, we will be walking right into their trap," Lu Ming said. "Then, what should we do?" Han Ying's face was pale. "Fly. Only if we fly far enough and use the teleportation portal to leave this place," Lu Ming said. Then, Lu Ming and the others randomly chose a direction and flew at full speed. Not long after Lu Ming and the others left, more than 10 black-robed men appeared at the place where they killed the black-robed men. Looking at the corpses of the black-robed men, these black-robed men exuded shocking killing intent. The target has escaped. Most likely, he was rescued by someone. One of the black-robed men said. Then what do we do? Someone asked. Lu has mastered the blood tongue lure. If he can use the blood tongue lure in time, the target won't be able to escape. One of the black-robed men said. Then, this person stretched out his arm, which was covered with blood-red threads. It was extremely strange. Chapter 31:11. Lu really used the blood tongue technique. Found him, he has already escaped from this planet, the black-robed man said. Inform the others and give chase. One of the black-robed men with the strongest cultivation level gave the order. Then, they soared into the sky, transforming into beams of black light. They dashed out of the starry sky of the universe and chased after Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming, Han Ning, and the others flew at full speed, passing by one planet after another. They had been flying for more than half a month, swallowing divine pills to recover their divine power while flying. Lu Ming had the quantifying character formula and had an endless supply of divine power, so he did not need any divine pills to recover his divine power. However, to avoid suspicion, he also pretended to swallow divine pills to recover his divine power. It's been so long, we should have shaken them off by now, right? Han Ning said. Alright, let's go to the planet in front and rest for a while. Lu Ming said. There was a planet in front of them that was devoid of life. The few of them landed, then swallowed divine pills and meditated. Not long after, they had basically recovered 70 to 80% of their divine power and were in a much better state. You too, who are you? Why did you save us? Can you tell us now? Han Ning looked at Lu Ming and asked. After this period of adjustment, Han Ying's mood had improved a lot. He had walked out of the sorrow of the Han family's annihilation. We're from the 9 Extinction Heavenly King residence. Lu Ming said. 9 Extinction Heavenly King residence? Han Ning and the old man from the Han family were surprised. That's right, a treasure of the 9 Extinction Heavenly King residence was stolen. There's a spy in the 9 Extinction Heavenly King residence. We're here to investigate the spy. Then, Lu Ming briefly explained the theft of the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal and the person behind the Demon Capital Mountain. So that's how it is, so that's how it is. So my Han clan has been silenced. Han Ning smiled bitterly. Lu Ming sighed. He did not know how to persuade Han Ning about this matter. You're here to find out who's behind the Demon Capital Mountain, right? Han Ning took a few deep breaths, his eyes were filled with hatred. You know? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. I do know. My father once told me about it. The Demon Capital Mountain produces the Demon Night Spring. The Demon Night Spring can nourish the soul and is priceless. My Han clan and the Wind Moon sect both coveted it before, but later on, we were warned by someone. The person who warned us was the backer of the Demon Capital Mountain. Han Ning said. Who is it? Lu Ming quickly asked. 9 Extinction Heavenly King Mansion, Sikong Clan. Han Ning gritted his teeth as the hatred in his eyes intensified. It's actually the Sikong clan. Wu Shan exclaimed. Sikong family? Which Sikong family? Lu Ming asked. He was not very familiar with some of the big families in the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Mansion. Among the powerful families in the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Mansion, there's only one Sikong clan. Wu Shan said with surprise in his eyes, the Sikong clan is very powerful, stronger than the Jin clan or the Qin clan. However, they have always been neutral and rarely have conflicts with other clans. The most important thing is that the sister of the current clan master of the Sikong clan is the 9 Extinction Heavenly King's wife. What? The 9 Extinction Heavenly King's wife? This time, even Lu Ming was shocked. The sister of the clan master of the Sikong clan was the 9 Extinction Heavenly King's wife, which meant that they were family. The Sikong clan actually ordered others to steal the 9 Extinction Heavenly King's treasure, the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal. What were they trying to do? Is the one behind the demon capital mountain really the Sikong clan? Lu Ming whispered and was very puzzled. Definitely. My father told me this himself. Not only the Han clan knows about the Chu Tian Star Zone, but the Wind Moon sect also knows about it. It's because we know who's behind them that the Han clan doesn't dare to touch the demon capital mountain. By the way, how's the Wind Moon sect? Han Ning said. The Wind Moon sect has also been destroyed. There's no one left alive. Lu Ming said. Sure enough, sure enough. What a ruthless method, what a ruthless method. I must take revenge for this. Han Ning clenched his fists and his eyes were full of hatred. Oh no, let's go. They're coming. Suddenly, Wuxian exclaimed. Everyone raised their heads and looked at the starry sky. Sure enough, they saw a few rays of black light flying toward them. Let's go. Lu Ming hollered. Everyone dared not stay any longer. They dashed in another direction. A great escape had begun. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. On this day, a few more figures suddenly appeared on a meteorite. It was Lu Ming and the others. However, Lu Ming and the others originally had 4 people. Now, there were only 3 left. Lu Ming, Wuxian, and Han Ning. The 3 of them were all injured. Their auras were weak and their faces were pale. It was obvious that they had gone through a fierce battle. These 3 months of escape could be said to be extremely dangerous. Once, they were caught by a group of black-robed people and the 2 sides engaged in a great battle. In that battle, they were all injured. The old man from the Han clan also died in that battle. In the end, Jiuqiu risked being injured and they narrowly escaped. During this period, no matter how we escape, the other party can catch up. What's going on? Lu Ming frowned. The other party must have some way to track us. Lu Ming, do you still remember the red light that fell on your body when the black-robed person used the blood snake art? Wuxian said. So it was that red light. Lu Ming suddenly understood. Before the black-robed man died, he shot out a beam of red light that landed on Lu Ming's body. There was nothing unusual about Lu Ming's body. He tried to sense it carefully, but he could not find anything unusual. It was most likely some kind of mark that fell on Lu Ming's body. The other party could use this mark to find them. No wonder they could not shake off the other party no matter how they ran and changed directions. The only thing we can do now is ask Gumo for help. Lu Ming muttered. Then, a pitch-black bone appeared in his hand. This bone was given to him by Gumo when Lu Ming left the Qin Tian Star Zone. Gumo was still cultivating in the Yulong secret domain. He was waiting for the Yulong secret domain to recover his strength and see if he could enter the Divine King realm. When Lu Ming left, Gumo gave him this pitch-black bone. He told Lu Ming that if he encountered any trouble, he could activate this bone. Even if Lu Ming was in the 9 Extinction Heavenly King residence, Gumo would be able to sense it and rush over to help him. This was much more useful than a voice transmission jade talisman. A voice transmission jade talisman could not transmit information over a long distance. Even a high-grade voice transmission jade talisman had a distance limit. It was very difficult to transmit from the Qin Tian Star Zone to the 9 Extinction Heavenly King residence. Of course, some powerful forces had special methods to transmit information quickly. In this situation, Lu Ming could only ask Gumo for help. He could not solve it with his own strength. He activated his divine power and injected it into the pitch-black bone. The pitch-black bone immediately emitted a mysterious fluctuation. It flickered a few times before calming down.
Chapter 31:12. I've contacted a senior expert. He'll be here soon, but we have to avoid the pursuit of those black-robed death warriors before he arrives. Lu Ming said. Wuxian and Han nodded. Their eyes looked ahead. Countless meteorites were suspended in the starry sky in front of them. Countless meteorites of different sizes were suspended in the starry sky. The territory was boundless, and there was no end in sight. A long time ago, this was probably a tragic battlefield. Many planets were destroyed, forming countless meteorites that floated in the starry sky. Their goal was this area. This area was extremely complicated. Countless meteorites were messy, and some of them were huge. Next, they had to use this terrain to avoid the pursuit of the enemy and hold on until the Bone Demon arrived. Let's go! Lu Ming shouted softly. The three of them flew forward into the group of meteorites. Soon, they disappeared into the meteorite group. While Lu Ming and the others were fleeing, 9 Extinction Heavenly King residents, Xikong family. In a secret hall, a black-robed man was reporting to a middle-aged man. This middle-aged man was the current head of the Xikong family, Xikong Nan. Bam! Xikong Nan slapped the armrest of the chair, and a terrifying aura was emitted from his body. What a bunch of trash. You can't even wipe out a small force like Chu Tian's star field. Why would I raise you? Xikong Nan's cold voice sounded, causing the black-robed man to tremble. Master, according to reliable news, the young lady of the Han family was rescued by Lu Ming. The black-robed man said. Lu Ming again. That little bastard always ruins my business. He's courting death. Xikong Nan shouted coldly, Go, send out more experts. We must kill them. Our information must not be leaked out. Yes, I'll do it right away. I'll send the strongest experts. The black-robed man nodded repeatedly, then turned and left. No, I'm still worried. This matter must be foolproof. I'll go there personally. Xikong Nan whispered. Then, his figure flashed and left. Chu Tian Star Field. More than an hour after Lu Ming and the other two entered the group of meteorites, many figures appeared outside the group of meteorites. All of them were black-robed men. There were more than 10 of them and all of them were experts. Even the weakest of them was a divine king. The target is in this group of meteorites. One of the black-robed men said. Are they trying to play hide-and-seek with us using these meteorites? What a joke. Let's split up and search for them. Let's see where they can hide. Once we have any news, we'll inform the others immediately. A powerful black-robed man said. Immediately, the dozens of black-robed men spread out and flew into the meteors in groups of 3 to 5. Lu Ming, Wuxian, and Han didn't stay in one place after flying into the meteorites. They stayed on one meteorite for a while, then immediately moved to another meteorite in order to disrupt the enemy's search. Just like that, they wandered around the meteors for 3 days. Who? Suddenly, Lu Ming shouted coldly in a certain direction. Kid, your spiritual sense is quite sharp, isn't it? A chuckle was heard. Then, a black-robed man appeared in front of them. Seeing the black-robed man, Wuxian and Han Ying's expressions changed drastically. Their bodies tensed up and they were ready to fight. However, Lu Ming smiled and said, Senior Bone Demon, you're finally here. Bone Demon's speed was really amazing. It only took him 3 days to come here from Qin Tian Star Field. Hearing Lu Ming's words, Wuxian and Han heaved a sigh of relief. They knew that the senior that Lu Ming mentioned was here. Lu Ming, you guys are really in a sorry state. Bone Demon said with a smile. Senior Bone Demon, don't mock me. By the way, did you see any black-robed men when you came in? Lu Ming asked. I saw them. There were dozens of them,
including many experts. "They're looking for you," Bone Demon said. "Very good. Now, let's catch them all in one fell swoop." Lu Ming's eyes flashed with murderous intent. After being chased for so long, he had a belly full of anger. It was time to fight back. "Lu Ming, what are you going to do?" Bone Demon said with a smile. "Of course, I'll lure them into the trap." Lu Ming smiled slightly. Then, they stopped running and rushed in the direction they came from. Not long after, swoosh! 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 In a flash, 5 or 6 black-robed men surrounded Lu Ming and the others. "Kid, let's see how you're going to escape," one of the black-robed men said ferociously. His murderous intent was as cold as a knife. They glanced at Bone Demon, but Bone Demon had concealed his aura. With their cultivation, they couldn't see through Bone Demon at all. Therefore, they didn't take Bone Demon seriously. "Escape? Why should I escape?" Lu Ming sneered. "Not escaping? You know you can't escape." One of the black-robed men sneered. These black-robed men weren't in a hurry to attack. They were still a little wary of Lu Ming's group. They were still outnumbered. If Lu Ming's group went all out, they would most likely suffer losses. Now that they were in an advantageous position, and they had already sent a message to the others. The others would be here soon. At that time, dealing with Lu Ming's group would be a piece of cake. Since the black-robed men didn't attack, Lu Ming's group naturally didn't attack either. Lu Ming was also waiting for the black-robed men to gather together and catch them all in one fell swoop. Wu Shan and Han Ning were a little worried. After all, they didn't know Bone Demon's strength. However, seeing Lu Ming's calm face, they could only brace themselves and wait. The black-robed men were also a little puzzled. Why didn't Lu Ming's group break through the encirclement? If they didn't break through now, wouldn't they have no chance when there were more of them? Humph, who cares what tricks you're playing? In the face of absolute power, it's a dead end. Some of the black-robed men thought. As expected, not too long later, more and more black-robed figures began to gather from all directions. More than 10 black-robed men surrounded Lu Ming's group. "Why aren't you attacking? Kill them," one of the black-robed men said coldly as he slashed his saber at Lu Ming. This person's cultivation was terrifyingly strong. His aura was violent. Lu Ming felt his body being locked down, unable to move. This black-robed man's cultivation was definitely above the 5th layer of the Divine King realm. Luckily, they hadn't encountered this person before. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to escape. But now, Bone Demon took a step forward, arriving in front of Lu Ming. Then, he reached out his hand and grabbed. In an instant, a giant dragon claw appeared in the air, grabbing at the black-robed man. His opponent's saber light shattered like paper. The dragon claw didn't stop, grabbing the black-robed man. "Ah!" The black-robed man screamed in disbelief. Chapter 31:13. The black-robed man screamed in fear when he was caught by Gumo. He was a 6th-layer Divine King realm cultivator, but he was like an ant in front of Gumo Bang. Gumo clenched his fist and the black-robed man exploded. He died on the spot. How is this possible? The rest of the black-robed men were shocked. They could not believe it. A 6th-layer Divine King realm expert was not killed by Gumo. That black-robed man was one of their leaders. "Let's go. We can't defeat him. Let's go." Some of the black-robed men shouted and retreated. They wanted to run away. Gumo could easily kill a 6th-layer Divine King realm expert. He was too terrifying. They could not deal with him. Roar! At this time, the Bone Devil let out a loud roar. Terrifying fluctuations burst out from the Bone Devil's mouth, forming circular shockwaves that rushed out in all directions. Bang! Bang! Those black-robed men were hit by the shockwaves and exploded. They died on the spot. Not even their bones were left. Dozens of black-robed men were killed. This, Wu Shan and Han Ning were dumbfounded. Dozens of powerful black-robed people were actually all annihilated after the Bone Devil roared. They finally knew why Lu Ming was so relaxed and calm after Gu Mo's arrival. Gu Mo's strength was unfathomable. This man is as strong as the family master. A thought flashed through Wu Shan's mind, and he was shocked. An expert like him was an overlord even in the 9-extinction Heavenly King Palace. It was unexpected that there was such an expert by Lu Ming's side. There are still a few left. I'll be back soon, Gu Mo said. His figure flashed and disappeared without a trace. Not all of the black-robed men who entered the meteorites had arrived. Some of them who were further away had not arrived yet. Gu Mo was going to kill them all. They did not have to wait for long before Gu Mo returned. It's done. Where are you going now? Gu Mo asked. To the 9-extinction Heavenly King Palace and expose the Xikong family. Lu Ming said, a cold light flashing in his eyes. It was obvious that the Xikong clan was the one who had sent people to assassinate Lu Ming. Lu Ming wouldn't be at ease until the Xikong clan was completely dealt with. Go! Bone Demon waved his hand and a gust of divine power was released. It shrouded Lu Ming and the others, swept them up, and broke through the air. The Bone Devil's speed was too fast. As they traversed the starry sky, one star after another flew past them. In the Chu Tian star field, there were a total of 2 interstar field transfer arrays. They flew towards one of them. In just half a day, they approached one of the interstellar domain teleportation portals. Their speed was many times faster than when Lu Ming and the others were flying. This interstellar domain teleportation array was located on a huge meteorite. Near this meteorite was a huge commercial planet. They flew towards the teleportation array. Not good. At this moment, Bone's expression changed slightly. Boom! Before Lu Ming and the others could react, an earth-shattering aura exploded from the meteorite with the interstellar domain teleportation array. A strong pressure locked them in place. You guys are finally here. I didn't expect a peak supreme god to interfere. No wonder those trash couldn't take you guys down. A cold voice came from the meteorite. As soon as the voice came out, an old man in a black robe appeared in front of Lu Ming and the others. This old man was covered in black light that covered the sky. It was extremely terrifying, like an abyss that could devour everything. This cultivation. Peak supreme god. Lu Ming gasped a breath of cold air, revealing a horrified expression. The old man's aura gave him the feeling that he wasn't any weaker than the Jin family head and the others. He was an overlord-class expert. He didn't expect that there would be a peak supreme god in this teleportation array. The Xikong family had really put in a lot of effort. Boom! At this moment, an aura exploded from Gu Mo's body and dispersed the old man's aura. Kill! The old man was very straightforward. He used his killer move. With a slash of his palm, an earth-shattering saber radiance burst out and slashed at Bone. Roar! Bone let out a roar and his body expanded rapidly. He turned into a dragon that was tens of thousands of feet long and a dragon claw struck out. Boom! The dragon claw and saber radiance collided. The entire void shook violently as if it was going to collapse. Fortunately, they were fighting in the universe. Otherwise, it would have been devastating. Buzz! The saber radiance shook violently and then collapsed. Bone's body twisted and retreated tens of thousands of meters. With your strength, you want to kill us? You're too confident. Bone roared and extended his dragon claw at the old man. Slash. 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 A saber appeared in the old man's hand and he slashed out continuously. Terrifying saber radiance shot up to the sky and slashed at Bone. Bone and the old man fought fiercely, creating an endless amount of energy. However, Bone kept Lu Ming and the rest behind him. Otherwise, Lu Ming and the rest would not be able to withstand such energy. Heavens, that's terrifying. What kind of existence is that? Many people near the interstellar domain transportation formation were alarmed by the battle. They looked over in horror. They had never seen such a battle. There was no such powerful existence in the Chu Tian star field. Too terrifying, too terrifying. It's going to destroy the world. Let's go. We'll be in trouble if we're caught in the crossfire. Many people near the interstellar domain transportation formation flew far away for fear of being caught in the crossfire. Bone and Black Shirt exchanged dozens of blows before Bone finally gained the upper hand. Bone's body was that of a dragon. He was an existence that surpassed a godly king. His body was indestructible and his defense was shocking. Bone could ignore his defense in a fight. Naturally, his combat strength was stronger. Senior Bone, this person is stalling for time. He might have a helper. At this moment, Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Bone Fiend. I'm not fighting with you anymore. After Bone Demon repelled the black-robed elder with one move, he led Lu Ming and the rest toward the interstellar sector teleportation array. You're in my hands and you still want to leave? Stay. Black Shirt Elder said coldly. The momentum of his saber changed. His saber was no longer aimed at Bone, but at Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming and the rest paled. The opponent's saber was very far away from them. They could feel a terrifying saber intent pressing down on them. Their bodies felt like they were about to explode. Fortunately, Bone acted in time. Divine Dragon Tail Whip shattered Black Shirt Elder's saber momentum. Otherwise, Lu Ming and the rest would have been killed in an instant. Facing such a peak godly king, be it Lu Ming or Qiuqiu, they did not have the slightest ability to resist. Kill. After Black Shirt Elder's attack was blocked, his saber momentum changed again. He charged towards Lu Ming and the rest. Bone could only block. Bone had to divert his attention to take care of Lu Ming and the rest. How could he charge over? He was firmly entangled by Black Shirt Elder. Chapter 31:14. The black-clothed old man kept attacking Lu Ming and the others to distract Guemo. This way, he could hold Guemo back and prevent him from using the interstar domain transfer array to leave. The other party obviously wanted to hold them back and wait for reinforcements. It was very likely that the other party had even sent a peak god king expert to the Chu Tian star field. Although Lu Ming and the others were anxious, there was nothing they could do. Sure enough, after fighting for a while, the interstar domain transfer array on the meteorite lit up. A few figures appeared in the interstar domain transfer array. The figures were completely wrapped in black robes and their faces could not be seen clearly. They were dressed exactly the same as the men of sacrifice from before. As soon as they appeared, they looked at the distant starry sky, at the place where Guemo and the black-clothed old man were fighting. Whoosh! 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 Then, they turned into several rays of black light and rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. Their speed was terrifyingly fast. In a few breaths, the black-clothed men appeared not far from Lu Ming and the others. You came at the right time. These people are our targets. Attack together and kill them. The black-clothed old man said. Kill. Kill. A total of 3 black-clothed men attacked at the same time. 3 rays of blood-red saber light slashed towards Lu Ming and the others. The power of the 3 men's attacks was shocking. One of them was not weaker than the black-clothed old man's attack. Without a doubt, he was also a peak Divine King expert. The other 2 black-clothed men were slightly weaker, but they were also terrifying experts. With so many experts attacking together, Gumo's face changed. We can't leave this interstar domain transfer array. Retreat first. Gumo shouted angrily. His huge body curled up and protected Lu Ming and the others as he retreated. Clang! 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 Rays of terrifying saber light slashed on Gumo's scales. Clang! Sparks flew everywhere. However, they did not break Gumo's defense. How is it possible that he has the body of a divine lord? The black-clothed old man shouted in shock. If they could not break through Gumo's physical defense with their cultivation, there was only one possibility. Gumo's physical body was above that of a godly king. Above the godly king realm was the divine sovereign realm, meaning the sovereign of the gods. A divine lord was much stronger than a divine king. Charge! The bone devil's body trembled, but there were only a few scars on his scales. He was completely fine. He continued to lead Lu Ming and the others to charge out. Stop them! The black-clothed old man roared and unleashed his full strength. Terrifying saber lights that seemed capable of splitting the heavens slashed towards Lu Ming and the others. The other black-robed men also launched fierce attacks. However, the bone devil curled up its body and protected Lu Ming and the others. It ignored its own defense and charged forward savagely. The black-robed old man and the others' attacks were constantly knocked away. At this moment, another figure appeared in the interstar domain transfer array. It was a middle-aged man. As soon as he appeared, he charged into the starry sky and attacked the bone demon. This burly man was actually also a peak Divine King expert. In this way, the other party had sent out 3 peak Divine King experts to attack the bone demon. Such a lineup was truly terrifying. In the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Palace, unless a Divine Lord took action, no one could fight against them. The 3 peak Divine King experts launched terrifying attacks. One attack after another landed on the bone demon's body. Even though the bone demon had the body of a dark dragon, which was originally a Divine Lord's physical body, he could not take it anymore. His body trembled continuously and the scars on his body increased. If the bone demon relied on the dark dragon's strong physical body, he would definitely not be a match for the other party. Lu Ming's face was solemn. The Xikong family had actually sent out so many experts to kill them. Moreover, 2 of them had revealed their true faces. This showed that they were determined to kill them. You want to stop me with just these few bastards? Dream on. The bone demon roared and a dragon's roar came from his mouth. His body shone with black light as he charged forward continuously. His suicidal attack had finally achieved results. The 3 Divine King Realm experts were attacking Gumo from 3 different directions. Therefore, Gumo was only attacking one person at a time. The other 2 black-robed people were not peak Divine King powerhouses. Under the bone demon's attack, the powerhouses on that side retreated repeatedly. Retreat for me! The bone demon roared loudly. Dragon claws stepped out continuously, bombarding the powerhouse in front. Bang! 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 That powerhouse clashed with the bone demon several dozen times in a row. Under the bone demon's suicidal attack, that person retreated repeatedly. How could the bone demon miss such an opportunity? Sweeping up Lu Ming and the rest, he burst out, breaking out of the heavy encirclement all of a sudden. Then, he flew rapidly into the distance. Damn it! Chase! Absolutely can't let them escape. The 3 peak Divine King powerhouses pushed their speed to the limit and chased after Lu Ming and the rest. Both sides, one chasing and one fleeing, flew out a long distance in a blink of an eye. Want to catch up to me? Dream on. The bone demon sneered coldly. Casting some kind of secret art, his speed became faster and faster, slowly pulling apart the distance between him and the other party. The three powerhouses behind were extremely anxious. The Xikong family head had already given a death order. They absolutely could not let Lu Ming and the rest escape. Lu Ming and the rest most likely already knew the secret. If the Xikong family was exposed as the mastermind behind the theft of the 9 ultimate divine crystal, then the Xikong family would face a disaster. Therefore, Lu Ming and the rest must die. The three powerhouses exerted all their strength and chased after the bone demon and the rest. However, their speed was still slower than the bone demon. Slowly, the distance between them was pulled apart by the bone demon. If this carried on, they would be able to escape sooner or later. Buzz! Right at this moment, the void in front of Lu Ming and the rest suddenly fluctuated. The space was like waves of ripples, rippling. In the next moment, a figure suddenly appeared in the void. It was a middle-aged man. He was handsome but his face was cold. When he opened and closed his eyes, radiance shot out in all directions. Kill! The cold middle-aged man spat out a word indifferently. His palm chopped down at the bone demon. Suddenly, a blade light burst out from the cold middle-aged man's palm. Terrifying, extremely terrifying. As soon as the blade light appeared, Lu Ming felt a great sense of terror. It was as if he would be destroyed in the next moment. Lu Ming had never encountered such a terrifying enemy in the real world. The blade light was shocking. It cut through the universe and the starry sky as if it was going to split the entire starry sky in half. Lu Ming had no doubt that if this blade light were to strike a planet with life, it would split the planet in half. Not good. The bone demon's face changed drastically. He twisted his body and wanted to fly in another direction, but it was already too late. Pfft! The blade light slashed the bone demon's body. Blood splattered everywhere. A wound that was over 1,000 meters long appeared on the bone demon's body. It had almost split the bone demon in half. Chapter 31:15. Gu Mo was severely injured by the slash. He spat out blood and flew out. Sir God, it's a Sir God! Gu Mo shouted in shock. The cold middle-aged man was actually a Sir God realm expert. A Sir God was the true overlord in 9 Extinction Heavenly King Mansion. He rarely took action and was invincible. Now, a Sir God had taken action. Family head. The black-robed elder and the other 2 had also arrived. They exclaimed when they saw the cold middle-aged man. This person was actually the family head of Xikong family. Trash. If I had not taken action personally, they would have escaped. The family head of Xikong family shouted coldly. The black-robed elder and the other 2 did not dare to make a sound. Peak Divine King was only a step away from a Sir God. However, the difference was huge. It was even bigger than the difference between a peak Divine God and a Divine King. They could not break through Gu Mo's defense even if they used all their strength. However, the family head of Xikong family could break through Gu Mo's defense with a casual slash. We are doomed. Let's go. Bone Demon let out a low growl. Ignoring his injuries, he led Lu Ming and the rest in another direction. You want to leave in front of me? The family head of Xikong family said coldly. He took a step forward and caught up with Gu Mo and the others. His hand was like a blade as he slashed out again. Swoosh! Another shocking saber light chopped towards Bone Devil. This slash had completely locked onto Gu Mo. Gu Mo could not escape. Puff! The blade light slashed on Gu Mo's head. Blood spurted out and Gu Mo's head was chopped off. The nether dragon's body was chopped off and it could no longer protect Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming and the others quickly retreated. They stood in the void with pale faces. Swoosh! A black light shot out from the nether dragon's head. It was a black skeleton. It was Guo Bone Demon dashed into Lu Ming's glabella and shouted, "It's over, Lu Ming. It's really over this time. I didn't expect to provoke a Sir God. This time, we're going to die together. Sir God." Lu Ming's mouth was filled with bitterness. Behind them, there were 3 peak god kings. In front of them, there was a god lord. Divine lords were too strong. Even the physical body of the nether dragon had been easily destroyed. They had no chance at all. Interesting, the nether dragon's physical body is controlled by another soul, and it's the physical body of a divine lord realm nether dragon. This is a pretty good harvest. The Xikong family patriarch chuckled and put away the nether dragon's body. No matter what, the nether dragon's body was still a divine lord's body. Its entire body was a treasure. Even divine lord experts were tempted. Then, the Xikong clan leader looked at Lu Ming and the others. At this moment, within Lu Ming's sea of consciousness, the measure character formula and the battle character formula rapidly shrank to the size of a speck of light to avoid being discovered. Han Ning and Wu Shan's faces paled as their bodies trembled. It wasn't that he was afraid, but that he couldn't control his body when facing such a terrifying existence. What should we do? In Lu Ming's mind, he was rapidly thinking of countermeasures. But none of them would work. Facing such an existence, any schemes were useless. They would be crushed with a single slap. Purple copper coffin. In the end, Lu Ming thought of the purple copper coffin. If it really didn't work, he could only try opening the purple copper coffin. However, facing such a terrifying expert like the Xikong family patriarch, Lu Ming wasn't confident even if he opened the purple copper coffin. Perhaps he wouldn't be able to kill the Xikong family patriarch and might even lose his life. You're called Lu Ming, right? Very good. You're the first in so many years to be able to do this at such a young age. I'll kill you with my own hands. The Xikong family patriarch said coldly as he stared at Lu Ming. Boom! In the next instant, the Xikong family patriarch directly attacked, not giving Lu Ming any room to speak. A vast saber light slashed toward Lu Ming, Han Ning, and the others. It was dazzling, incomparably dazzling. In the eyes of Lu Ming and the others, there was only this saber light left. Everything else had disappeared. The saber light slashed toward them, but Lu Ming and the others didn't move at all. It wasn't that they didn't want to move, but they couldn't. Move, move. Lu Ming roared in his heart. He wanted to take out the purple copper coffin and fight to the death, but his body couldn't move at all. He was suppressed by an invisible force. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. He knew that he was still naive. Facing an expert like the Xikong family patriarch, even if he had a killing weapon like the purple copper coffin, he couldn't use it. He couldn't even fight to the death. Could it be that I'm really going to die here today? Lu Ming sighed in his heart. At this moment, thoughts flashed through his mind. It looked like the saber light was about to land on Lu Ming and the others. If this saber light really landed, Lu Ming and the others wouldn't even have a speck of ash left. However, at this moment, ripples appeared in the space in front of Lu Ming and the others. Then, 2 huge pitch-black fingers stretched out from the ripples and caught the saber light that was slashing down violently. An unbelievable scene appeared. The saber light that the Xikong family patriarch had slashed out, which could destroy everything, was actually caught by the 2 fingers. Following that, with a slight tremble of his finger, the saber light shattered with a bang. Lu Ming, Han Yi, Wu Shan and the rest, as well as the 3 peak god king experts behind them, were dumbstruck. The attack of a divine monarch had actually been destroyed so easily. Exterminating finger, heavenly. Heavenly monarch, the Sikong family patriarch's expression changed drastically. In the end, his voice actually trembled and his face was filled with horror. Sikong Nan, how dare you? A dignified voice suddenly sounded, reverberating in the universe's starry sky. Then, the two fingers retracted. A figure suddenly appeared in front of Lu Ming and the others. This person was tall and sturdy, wearing luxurious clothes. Lu Ming and the others only saw the back view, but they still felt endless majesty. This person's aura was as vast and endless as the universe's starry sky. Heavenly. Heavenly King, subordinate Sikong Nan pays respect to the Heavenly King. The Sikong family patriarch's expression was extremely ugly, but he still cupped his fists respectfully and bowed respectfully. His eyes were filled with horror. Lu Ming and the others were shocked. Heavenly King? In the Nine Extinction Heavenly King manner, there was only one person who was called a Heavenly King and could make Sikong Nan so fearful and respectful. That was the ruler of the Nine Extinction Heavenly King manner, the Nine Extinction Heavenly King. However, why would the Nine Extinction Heavenly King come here? Behind, the faces of the three-peak divine monarchs also changed wildly, becoming incomparably ugly. The Nine Extinction Heavenly King didn't speak. He just looked at Sikong Nan coldly. Sikong Nan forced a smile on his face and said, "Heavenly King, why did you suddenly come here? Could it be that you passed by chance? This subordinate has something to do. After it's done, I'll immediately report to the Heavenly King." After saying that, he gave a look to the three-peak divine monarchs behind him, letting them take action and kill Lu Ming and the others. Chapter 31:16. The appearance of Nine Extinction Heavenly King shocked Sikong Nan. He wanted to kill Lu Ming and the rest before they could speak. Huoran. 1. W. 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 R. A. N. W. E. N. C. M. M. The faces of the three-peak divine king experts changed. They gritted their teeth and were about to attack Lu Ming and the rest. Whoever wants to die can try it. Nine Extinction Heavenly King said faintly. The three-peak God King experts froze, not daring to move an inch. Heavenly King, these people are criminals. They are extremely vicious and must be killed as soon as possible. Sikong Nan said. Nonsense, Heavenly King, we found out that the Sikong clan leader is the mastermind behind the theft of the Nine Extinction Divine Crystal. He wants to kill us. Lu Ming shouted. Little brat, you're spouting nonsense and dare to slander me. You deserve 10,000 deaths for your crimes. Sikong Nan's face changed drastically. A terrifying aura burst out from his body and he was about to kill Lu Ming. However, Nine Extinction Heavenly King took a step forward and the void shook violently. A terrifying force rushed toward Sikong Nan and crushed Sikong Nan's aura. Sikong Nan's body shook and he retreated. Heavenly King, what do you mean by this? Sikong Nan's face turned ugly. Sikong Nan, do you really think I was passing by? Nine Extinction Heavenly King asked coldly. Is it not? Sikong Nan's face turned ugly. I already knew that there was a mole behind the theft of the Nine Extinction Divine Crystal. I also suspected you, but there was no evidence. That's why I didn't make a move and waited for you to give yourself away. This time, you really made a move. Not only did you come personally, but you also sent out all the experts of the Sikong clan. I naturally have to come and take a look. Nine Extinction Heavenly King said coldly. You followed me here? Sikong Nan's face turned ugly. That's right. Nine Extinction Heavenly King's eyes turned cold and said, Tell me, why did you do this? Who ordered you to do this? Heavenly King, it's a misunderstanding. I'm not a mole. You can't just listen to that brat's words. Sikong Nan shouted. You're still quibbling even now? Do you think I'm that stupid? Speak, who told you to do this? The 9 Extinction Heavenly King shouted, and a terrifying aura soared into the sky. Facing this aura, Lu Ming felt that he was like an ant. The difference was too great. Sikong Nan's figure also shook violently as he retreated continuously. It was difficult for him to withstand the 9 Extinction Heavenly King's aura. Sikong Nan's expression flickered. Suddenly, he looked behind Lu Ming and the others and roared. What are all of you doing? Finished speaking, Sikong Nan's figure suddenly charged madly backwards. He actually used a diversion tactic, wanting to seize the opportunity to escape. How naive of you to play such petty tricks in front of me. The 9 Extremes Heavenly King said coldly and then slammed his palm into the air. Boom! The sky shook violently. An enormous palm formed and pressed down on Sikong Nan. Break! Sikong Nan roared as a saber appeared in his hand. He slashed out with all his might. A dazzling saber light soared into the sky and slashed at the palm that was pressing down on him. This saber was at least several times stronger than the one that slashed at Lu Ming and the others previously. However, when the saber light slashed on the palm, it shook violently and then exploded with a bang. The violent palm force blasted down. Sikong Nan screamed as his body flew out and crashed into a huge planet in the distance. Boom! The planet roared violently. Half of the planet directly exploded. Like a dazzling firework, flames shot out in all directions. Fortunately, that planet was a dead planet without any living creatures. Otherwise, who knows how many creatures would have died. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. A divine lord that surpassed the divine king realm was simply ridiculously strong and unimaginable. This is the realm that I want to pursue, above the divine king realm. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. He always remembered that Xian Yanqing wanted him to reach above the divine king realm before he went to find her. He must reach this realm. Swoosh! 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 At this moment, behind Lu Ming and the others, the 3-peak Divine King experts' faces changed drastically. They actually turned into 3 rays of light and flew back madly. They were trying to escape. You still want to escape in front of me? 9 Extinction Heavenly King's cold voice sounded. He then stretched out his finger and pointed 3 fingers in the air. 3 huge fingers formed and pressed down on the 3-peak Divine King experts. Ah! 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 The 3-peak Divine King experts screamed in horror. They realized that they could not avoid this move at all. Bang! 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 3 explosions sounded. The 3-peak Divine King experts' bodies directly exploded and died on the spot. Lu Ming broke out in a cold sweat. The strength of the 9 Extremes Heavenly King was too terrifying. Those were 3-peak Divine Kings, who were on par with the family head of the Jin family. However, they were easily killed in seconds. It was as easy as crushing 3 ants. At this moment, Sikong Nan flew out from the half-destroyed planet. He was not dead, but he was in a sorry state. His hair was disheveled and his clothes were torn. There was blood at the corner of his mouth. A divine lord would naturally not die so easily. But that move just now still caused him to suffer heavy injuries. As divine lords, the difference in strength between Sikong Nan and 9 Extinction Heavenly King was huge. Heavenly King, spare my life, spare my life. Sikong Nan shouted. He knew that with his cultivation, it was impossible to escape from 9 Extinction Heavenly King's hands. So, he begged for mercy. Speak, who ordered you to do this? You must have a purpose for doing this. What is your purpose? Nine Extinction Heavenly King shouted coldly, killing intent flashing in his eyes. Sikong Nan shuddered. He had no doubt that Nine Extinction Heavenly King would kill him. Even though his sister was the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion's princess consort. It's Nine Blades Heavenly King. Nine Blades Heavenly King asked me to do this. He said that there was a way to make my cultivation breakthrough. I have been trapped in the Divine Lord realm for too long. So, I was muddle-headed and listened to his words. Heavenly King, spare my life. Sikong Nan shouted. Nine Blades Heavenly King. Nine Extinction Heavenly King's eyes flashed with cold light. He and Nine Blades Heavenly King were enemies. They had fought for countless years and neither could do anything to the other. They had a feud when they were young. When they were young, Nine Extinction Heavenly King had once killed Nine Blades Heavenly King's younger brother. So, for so many years, Nine Blades Heavenly King had always wanted to take revenge and destroy the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion. What is his purpose for asking you to steal the Nine Extinction Divine Crystal? Nine Extinction Heavenly King asked. He asked me to be the mastermind behind the scenes to steal the Nine Extinction Divine Crystal. Then, he would let the major families in the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion be suspicious of each other and fight with each other to exhaust their strength, causing the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion to fall into internal strife. In this way, when the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion's strength is weakened, he could lead the army and destroy the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion in one fell swoop. Sikong Nan explained everything in detail. I see. Lu Ming suddenly realized. The other party's purpose was to make the major families in the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion be suspicious of each other and fight with each other, causing them to fall into internal strife and internal strife to weaken the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion's strength. P.S. Readers, I am Shepherd Boy Ting Zhu. I recommend a free app that supports downloading, listening to books, advertisements, and multiple reading modes. Chapter 31:17. One had to admit that Sikong Nan's plan was brilliant and almost succeeded. WW. During this period of time, the major families of the Nine Extinction Heavenly King Mansion were indeed suspicious of each other and attacked each other. The conflict was getting deeper and deeper. If this continued, it was not impossible for it to evolve into a fierce war. What else? The Nine Extinction Heavenly King's face was even colder as he asked coldly. No, that's all. Heavenly King, spare me. I was blinded for a moment and made a big mistake. I won't dare to do it again. For the sake of my sister, spare me. Sikong Nan shouted and continued to beg for mercy. Some things, once you make a mistake, you have to pay a heavy price. If I spare you, how will I explain it to others in the future? Who will listen to me in the future? The Nine Extinction Heavenly King said faintly, but his voice contained a cold murderous intent. Sikong Nan's face was ugly. He gritted his teeth and rushed to the back, trying to escape. Swoosh! The Nine Extinction Heavenly King also moved. His speed was unimaginably fast. In a flash, he closed the distance between him and Sikong Nan. After a few flashes, he caught up with Sikong Nan and pointed a finger. The void vibrated like a wave, making a terrifying explosion sound. A huge finger pressed toward Sikong Nan. Sikong Nan roared in horror and tried his best to resist. However, his attack and his defense were constantly crumbling under the attack of the Nine Extinction Heavenly King. Ah, Nine Extinction, you will die a horrible death. And that kid, he will die a horrible death, Sikong Nan roared angrily, but in the next moment, his cry came to an abrupt end. Because his body directly exploded under the finger of the Nine Extinction Heavenly King. Even with his powerful vitality in the Divine Lord realm, it was useless. His body exploded, his soul was annihilated, and he completely disappeared from this world. A terrifying Divine Lord Realm powerhouse was killed just like that. The chaotic universe, the upper-class world, was so cruel. No matter how high your cultivation was, there would always be someone stronger. If you could not be the strongest, you could fall at any time. In the vast chaotic universe, there were countless powerhouses falling at all times. Therefore, at all times, every cultivator wanted to improve themselves and break through to a higher realm. In order to break through, they would do anything. Just like Sikong Nan, he was trapped in the first level of the Divine Monarch realm for countless years. In order to break through, he betrayed the 9 Extinction Heavenly King and helped the Dark Ice race steal the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal. He wanted to cause internal strife in the 9 Extinction Heavenly King Palace. After killing Sikong Nan, the 9 Extinction Heavenly King waved his hand and grabbed Sikong Nan's storage ring. Then, a huge nether dragon corpse appeared in the air. "This is yours, right? Take it back." The 9 Absolutes Heavenly King said. "Lu Ming, put it away. The nether dragon's body has been destroyed. It's useless to me, but it's still very useful to you." Bone cried out in his sea of consciousness. "Thank you, Heavenly King." Lu Ming cupped his fists in thanks and then put the nether dragon's corpse into a spatial ring. This time, being able to make Sikong Nan give himself away and ferret him out, you've done a great service. The 9 Extinction Heavenly King looked at Lu Ming with a faint smile. "I'm just trying to protect myself. It's not a great service," Lu Ming said. "No matter what the reason is, it's all because of you that we ferret out Sikong Nan. Naturally, you have to be rewarded. How about this? I promise you a condition. As long as it's within my ability, I won't refuse," the 9 Extinction Heavenly King said. These words made Lu Ming's eyes light up. Han Ning and Wu Shan were even more envious. This is a condition from the 9 Extinction Heavenly King. It's simply priceless. What condition do you want to put forward? The 9 Extinction Heavenly King asked. Heavenly King, can I put this condition aside first? Can I mention it after I've thought about it? Lu Ming said. Now, Lu Ming had not thought about what condition to put forward. A condition from the 9 Extinction Heavenly King was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It must be used on the edge of the blade. It would be best to mention it when needed. This little guy is quite smart. Alright, mention it when you've thought about it. Take this voice transmission Jade Talisman. If you've thought about it, you can send me a voice transmission at any time. After saying that, the 9 Extinction Heavenly King took out a voice transmission Jade Talisman and handed it to Lu Ming. Thank you, Heavenly King. Lu Ming received it with joy. Alright, I have to go back and deal with the Sikong clan. I'll take my leave first. The 9 Extinction Heavenly King left a sentence and took a step out. The void was filled with ripples, and the figure of the 9 Extinction Heavenly King had disappeared without a trace. Obviously, the 9 Extinction Heavenly King did not intend to stay in the Sikong clan. One could imagine the fate of the Sikong clan. Shuttling through the void, a Divine Lord powerhouse is really terrifying. Lu Ming sighed. This was the chaotic universe where the space was extremely stable. After Lu Ming came to the chaotic universe, it was the first time he saw someone who could travel through the void. Sikong Nan had used it before, and now the 9 Extinction Heavenly King was doing it too. Kid, this is not shuttling through the void. In the sea of consciousness, Gu Mo's voice sounded. Not shuttling through the void? Lu Ming was surprised. Previously, Sikong Nan and the 9 Extinction Heavenly King appeared suddenly. If it was not shuttling through the void, what was it? The space of the chaotic universe is extremely stable. It is not comparable to a small kiliacosm. Moreover, the chaotic universe is vast and boundless. Its territory is many times larger than a small kiliacosm. It is too difficult to travel through the void and cross the endless starry sky. Gu Mo sighed. Lu Ming nodded. Indeed. The area of a small kiliacosm like the Heaven Realm and the Primordial Realm was far smaller than a planet of life, let alone compared to the endless starry sky of the universe. In a small kiliacosm, to be able to travel from one end to the other, in the chaotic universe, it was only equivalent to a small distance on a planet. In the starry sky, it was nothing. Then what are they doing? Lu Ming asked. After breaking into the Divine Lord Realm, they can use an unrivaled technique to carve a starry sky transmission array on their body. This is what they are doing by activating the starry sky transmission array and sending themselves out. This is similar to passing through the void in a different way. Gu Mo explained. To be able to carve a teleportation array on one's body, how amazing! Lu Ming exclaimed. By carving a teleportation array on one's body, one's movement would be many times faster. There would be no need to take other teleportation arrays. Of course, this method still has its weaknesses. In some aspects, it is not as good as shuttling through the void. For example, it takes time to activate the teleportation array. In a battle, the opponent will not give you time to activate the teleportation array. Another thing is that it can only be used by one person and cannot be used by others. Gu Mo said. Lu Ming nodded. No wonder Sikong Nan did not use the teleportation array to escape. It was because he did not have time to activate the teleportation array. He was afraid that he would be killed by the 9 Extinction Heavenly King before he could activate it. The other thing is that it can only be used by oneself and cannot be used by others. One should know that one can bring others along with them when shuttling through the void. P.S. Readers, I am the Shepherd Boy Ting Zhu. I recommend a free app that supports downloading, listening to books, 0 advertisements, and multiple reading modes. Chapter 31:18. Although there was a weakness in carving a teleportation formation on his body, Lu Ming was envious of it. The Eldritch universe was too big. He had to spend a lot of time every time he traveled. If he could carve a teleportation formation on his body, he would be able to travel much faster. However, he could only be envious. That was the symbol of the Divine Lord Realm. Only a Divine Lord Realm expert could do it. Even a peak Divine King could not do it. He shook his head and threw the thought to the back of his head. He was still too far away from the Divine Lord Realm. It was better for him to take it one step at a time and slowly improve himself. Let's go. We'll find a place to rest. Lu Ming said. This matter was finally resolved and the crisis was completely eliminated. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief and felt relaxed all over. All right. Wu Shan and Haning nodded. Then, they left the place in a flash. On a desolate planet, Lu Ming and the others landed. They then consumed a divine pill and began to recuperate. A few days later, they had recovered to their peak state. Miss Haning, what's your plan next? Lu Ming asked Haning. I want to return to the Han family and bury the Han family members. Haning said. At this point, she revealed a mournful expression. We'll go with you. After we're done with the Han family, follow us to the 9 Extinction Heavenly King mansion to cultivate. Lu Ming said. The Han family was annihilated and Haning was the only one left. She had no one to rely on. If she followed them to the 9 Extinction Heavenly King mansion, even if she could not enter the starry camp, it was better to cultivate in the Wu family than to wander outside alone. Then, Haning would like to thank young Master Lu. Haning bowed. Let's go. Lu Ming said. Immediately, they headed towards the Han family. After some time, they returned to the Han family. The Han family was annihilated and no one survived. When they returned, they found that there were many more people in the Han family's territory. Many people flew in and out, moving back and forth. I'm the one who found this storage ring. Piss off. I came first. You're the one who should get lost. You're courting death. In a dilapidated palace, a few loud shouts could be heard. Then, a few figures started fighting with each other. Strong energy overflowed, causing the already dilapidated palace to be destroyed even more quickly. These people, Han Ying's eyes instantly reddened with murderous intent. Obviously, these people were fishing in troubled waters, taking advantage of the situation to loot. The Han clan was one of the two overlords of the Chu Tian star field. Before they were destroyed, no one dared to do anything to them. But now that the Han clan had been destroyed, other than a few precious treasures that had been taken away by the Sikong clan, the ordinary treasures were all left here. Naturally, it attracted a large number of people. At first, no one dared to make a move. But after a while, seeing that nothing was wrong, cultivators from the Chu Tian star field swarmed over to steal the Han family's treasures. It was so much so that some of the Han family's people were stripped of their clothes and weapons. No wonder Han Ying had such an expression. All of you, scram. Lu Ming took a step forward and suddenly shouted. His voice was like thunder, causing the few people who were fighting to stop. Where did this brat come from? Are you trying to mess with us? Hurry up and scram. A middle-aged man glanced at Lu Ming and scolded disdainfully. I'll give you one last chance. Put down your storage rings and scram. Otherwise, die. Lu Ming said with a sullen face. Arrogant. I think you'll be the first to die. The burly man was impatient. He swung the battle axe in his hands toward Lu Ming. This burly man's cultivation level was not weak. He was a half-step divine king. However, he was a far cry from Lu Ming. I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. Lu Ming said indifferently. He threw a punch and a 9-clawed dragon flew out and pounced forward. Puff! The middle-aged man was directly torn apart by the 9-clawed dragon and died on the spot. When the others saw this, their faces turned pale with fright. I'll go now. I'll go too. The few of them threw down their storage rings and quickly ran away. Looks like we have to get rid of these rascals first before dealing with the Han family's affairs. Lu Ming said. Young Master Lu Ming, please. Han Ying said with a sobbing tone. Her eyes were red. At this moment, she was angry and helpless. Don't worry, let's go. Lu Ming nodded and his eyes flashed with a cold light. Lu Ming, Wuxian and Han Ying headed towards the core of the Han family. Kill! Lu Ming shouted coldly. He thrust out his spear and spear light shot out like shooting stars, killing 5 or 6 experts who were trying to take advantage of the situation. The remaining people were terrified and quickly ran away. The 3 of them killed their way in. Along the way, they did not encounter any powerful experts. The strongest one was only at the 2nd heaven of the Divine King realm. He was easily killed by Wuxian. Soon, they arrived at the core of the Han family, which was also the place where the main house of the Han family was located. This place used to be a boundless mountain range with rich divine qi. It was a blessed place with many palaces. However, the mountain range had collapsed and the palaces were destroyed. Only ruins were left. Many corpses were lying in the ruins. 6th Grandpa, 8th Grandpa, Han Ying cried when she saw the corpses of the old men. They were her family members. Who are you? Get out of here. At this moment, a few figures flew out from the core of the Han family. Some of them were middle-aged and some were old men. They glared at Lu Ming and the others and said, "The Hanli sect has booked this place. Get out of here, or you'll die." Do you understand? An old man shouted coldly. Hanli sect. You're from the Hanli sect. Haning shouted. Since you know we're from the Hanli sect, get out of here. The old man waved his hand. What kind of force is the Hanli sect? Lu Ming asked Haning through voice transmission. The Hanli sect is a powerful force in the Chu Tian star field. They used to be second only to the Han family and the Wind Moon sect. They had a good relationship with the Han family. I didn't expect them to take advantage of the situation after the Han family was destroyed. Damn it! Haning gritted her teeth. I see. Lu Ming nodded. It turned out that the Hanli sect was second only to the Han family and the Wind Moon sect in the Chu Tian star field. No wonder they were so overbearing and occupied the core of the Han family. I don't care which sect you are from. If you don't want to die, get out of here. Lu Ming waved his hand and said. What? Boy, what did you say? The old man shouted. He was surprised that someone in the Chu Tian star field dared to talk to him like that after hearing the Hanli sect's name. He was courting death. Boy, you're dead for what you said. Kill. The old man shouted coldly and slapped Lu Ming. The old man's cultivation was not weak. He was at the first heaven of the king god realm. The wind from his palm whistled and was very powerful. Leave it to me. Wu Shan, who was next to Lu Ming, stepped forward and threw a punch. Chapter 31:19. Wu Shan punched out, and a fist energy as big as a mountain crushed towards the old man. Bang! Wu Shan had the cultivation base of the third king god realm. The old man couldn't resist him. His fist energy exploded, turning the old man into ashes. You! How dare you kill the people of the Hanli sect? You're courting death. Send the signal. The remaining few people were shocked and furious. One of them let out a long howl, and his voice spread far and wide. Swoosh! 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 Immediately, many figures flew out from the core of the Han family. There were at least 20 of them. Each of them had a powerful aura. All of them were experts at the Divine King realm. The Hanli sect was second only to the Han family and the Wind Moon sect. They were even stronger than the Ice Soul race in the Qin Tian star zone. There were more than 20 divine kings in the group. Soon, more than 20 people arrived before them. What happened? A young man in his 20s asked with a cold face. He was holding a folding fan. They killed Guardian Wang. One of them pointed at Lu Ming and the others and shouted. What? Guardian Wang is dead? They're courting death. The young man shouted angrily. He looked at Lu Ming and the others with murderous intent. However, when his gaze landed on Haning, he was stunned for a moment and revealed a look of surprise. Haning, it's you. You're not dead. The young man shouted. Sun Nian, how dare you? Why did you bring people to occupy the core area of my Han clan? Haning shouted. They knew each other. They were all elites of the Chu Tian star zone. It was normal for them to know each other. Sun Nian's eyes flashed. He laughed and said, Ha ha ha, Haning, do you still think you're the young lady of the Han family? Now that the Han family has been destroyed and all of their experts are dead, the Hanli sect is the leader of the Chu Tian star zone. Do you understand? At this point, Sun Nian's gaze swept over Han Ying's body. His eyes were fiery and flickered with an evil light. In the past, I pursued you bitterly, but you didn't even spare me a glance. He, now that the Han family has been destroyed, let's see who you can rely on. Good. You're not dead. I'll take you down and make you my toy. Let's see how arrogant you can be. Ha ha ha. Sun Nian laughed. His eyes were burning. You dare, Han Ying's face turned pale with fright. Where did this idiot come from? Why are you shouting here? Get out of here. At this moment, Lu Ming took a step forward. He glanced at Sun Nian coldly and reprimanded him. Sun Nian nodded. Only then did he notice Lu Ming. He looked at Lu Ming and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Brat, what did you say? You can't hear what I'm saying. Looks like your ears aren't good either. Lu Ming said indifferently. You're courting death. Men, kill him for me. No, cripple him for me. I want to feed him to the dogs. Sun Nian shouted coldly, his killing intent as cold as a blade. In his opinion, Lu Ming was just a follower of Han Ying. He was probably a lucky survivor of the Han family. Now that the Han family had been destroyed, Lu Ming actually dared to speak to him in such a manner. He was simply courting death. Previously, he had been suppressed by the Han family. Now, the anger he had suppressed completely erupted. Young master, leave it to me. Behind Sun Nian, a skinny man stepped forward and clawed at Lu Ming's throat. This young man was at the first king god realm. In his opinion, Lu Ming was just a heavenly god. It would be easy for him to cripple Lu Ming. He didn't even use his full strength this time. You're just a servant of a wild dog. How dare you bark? Die! Lu Ming shouted coldly. A long spear appeared in his hand. The battle symbol's secret art increased his fighting strength by 4 times. He thrust the spear at the skinny man. The spear light was dazzling like a meteor. It moved at an extremely fast speed toward the skinny man. Puff! The spear light pierced through the skinny man's palm as if it had pierced through tofu, leaving a bloody hole. Ah! The skinny man screamed, his eyes filled with disbelief. Although he hadn't used his full strength, he was still at the first king god realm. However, he was injured by a heavenly god realm cultivator. At the same time, he couldn't believe it. Moon slashing. After Lu Ming's spear pierced through the skinny man's palm, he continued his attack. The 9 types of god energies in his body exploded. The 9 types of god energies, with the awakened god origin factor as the core, rushed into the long spear and exploded, creating a terrifying power. The crowd only saw a crescent moon flash out. Then, they saw the skinny man's body split in half. He had killed a god king in 2 moves. Before Lu Ming transformed into his ancient god body, he wouldn't have been able to kill a god king so easily. However, the skinny man had underestimated him. Lu Ming had seized the opportunity and killed him in 1 move. You, Sun Nian was stunned. He stared at Lu Ming with his mouth agape. A heavenly god could kill a god king. He had never heard of such a thing. He was dumbfounded. If you don't get lost, then die. Lu Ming shouted. His long spear vibrated and turned into a dazzling spear light, thrusting toward Sun Nian. Young master, be careful. Behind Sun Nian, an elder roared. A gush of divine power gushed out and sucked Sun Nian's body behind him. Then, he threw a palm strike at Lu Ming. Boom! Buzz! The old man's palm struck Lu Ming's long spear, causing a violent explosion. Lu Ming's long spear shook violently. Lu Ming was pushed back by a powerful force. He felt his blood and qi churn, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Kill! Kill this bastard for me! Sun Nian reacted and roared crazily. Just now, he had almost been killed by Lu Ming. Cold sweat flowed down his back. He was terrified. This feeling made him a little hysterical. Kill! You're all dead. The experts behind Sun Nian roared. Violent auras erupted as they charged toward Lu Ming. The auras of so many experts were terrifying. Han Ying's face turned pale. Wu Shan's aura also erupted as he prepared to attack. "Let me do it." Lu Ming's voice resounded. Then, Qiuqiu wriggled and turned into an armor, covering Lu Ming's body. Creak! Creak! Boom! Lu Ming threw a punch. Huge lightning bolts that were thicker than a person's waist dashed forward. The attacks that were aimed at Lu Ming collapsed after being hit by the lightning bolts. The lightning bolts didn't stop and continued to strike the experts of the Hanli sect. Boom! 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 The experts of the Hanli sect were like balloons that were punctured. They couldn't withstand a single blow from the lightning bolts. They exploded and turned into ashes under the power of the lightning bolts. At least a dozen experts of the first layer of the King God realm, second layer of the King God realm, and even third layer of the King God realm were turned into ashes and disappeared from the world. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.